Preacher's son, and when his daddy would visit, he'd come along. When they gathered around and started talking, Cousin Billy would take me walking. Out through the backyard we go walking. Then he looked into my eyes. Lord knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man, the only boy.
Buy this car to drive to work to pay for this car. Buy this car to drive to work to work.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today we're going to go over a little bit of Bernie history here. I've been out of politics for a while, you know, and I was really curious because we had this mandate to not talk so harshly about Bernie Sanders, which makes me want to do it. You know, that's just you can't force me into a corner. You know, I'm just gonna talk shit. You know, forgive me. But yeah, we're gonna watch a little bit of history here. Now, my last memory of Bernie's foreign policy, in general, was when he was running in 2020 or whatever, right? And to say the least, his foreign policy seemed lackluster. It seemed like he would say, like, kinda okay, the right things, but, I mean, he didn't give me any confidence that if a general walks into his face and says, we're doing this, that he's going to actually stand up to it. He didn't give me that impression at all. And Matt Duss seemed like the same way, which was his foreign policy advisor. He probably should have went with Jeffrey Sachs instead as a foreign policy advisor. I don't know why you needed Matt Duss for. You know, but Bernie, you know, he strategizes. He tries to make it look palatable to, let's be real, mainstream establishment Democrats. He wants to fit in with them for some reason, which makes him afraid to go after them. Thus, his policy will actually reflect that he's like willing to work with them, not Republicans. Even if Republicans and Democrats are guilty of the same thing, he will pick a team to call it out with, and maybe say very little to nothing about the other, or very tepid, you know, critiques. So I'm like, all right. I saw a clip on Twitter, and I was like, all right, let me just go over let me look at some videos, because I'm ignorant myself, right? I'm trying to learn too, man. Where's Bernie stand on, let's be real, the most major, well, not for me, but for most people, the most major foreign policy issue on the planet right now, which is Israel-Palestine. So, yeah, we're going to do that. Before I get started, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, donate. Do it! Alright. Thank you. Alright. So, this video, I believe, is from 5 months ago, where Bernie's on Fox News with, what's her name? Maria something? Maria Romo. She's a hottie, bro. I'm in love. But, so, okay, 5 months ago. That's a decent amount. Like, I didn't see this before. So that can give me a little bit of understanding of where Bernie's at, especially when they're in the middle of a ceasefire, right? Maybe that's when you want to take advantage and like, okay, let's push further. Let's push the ceasefire further and kind of pressure Israel to move on to phase 2. But, all right, here we go. Let's see what happens.
You're saying stop sending the weapons in the middle of Israel's fight for literally their survival.
Okay, Maria, let's be clear. All right, Hamas is a terrible terrorist organization that began this war with a horrific attack against Israel on October 7th. No one denies.
Okay, not a good start. You know, it's not a good start. Once again, even she framed it as, how could you take away weapons from Israel when they're in a fight for their own survival, when in reality, it looks like they're committing a genocide against a whole different group of people. That's what it looks like. So this is not a this is not a battle for survival. This is a stop them from murdering people. And here's why I say it's a bad start for Bernie, is because he's now legitimizing what in a way, somewhat legit. Like, yeah, you could say that. Like, I'm not the guy who gets butthurt about this, right? I'm not, bad empanada, right? Or he's like, oh, liberal Zionism, right? Where they give these, they have to, what's the word? They have to add this context to every time they make a statement. Trust me, Israel has the right to exist. Hamas are bad guys, but, and then they go into their critiques. Like, I don't know why that's like, sure, like, yeah, we get it, Bernie. You don't want to wipe Israel off the map. I get that. So just going with your critique, like, that should be understood already. Like, from you or anyone that's supposed to be like a well-meaning person, like, do I need to say we shouldn't murder all the Israelis? I didn't know I needed to say that first. But once again, here's a guy who doesn't take AIPAC money, still walking the line that all the other guys that take AIPAC money do. So I'm like, huh, is it really about how much money they get paid? We'll see. But bad start for Bernie, in my opinion. But here we go.
That began this war with a horrific attack against Israel on October 7th. No one denies that. Sinwar, who is just...
Also, there's prior context before October 7th. Like, there's been a thing going on in that region of the world way before October 7th. And, like, blatant crimes against humanity were happening before that. People were calling it genocide before this. Now it's just outright, we're just going to mow them down. Just, they gave us the green light. They gave us the excuse. America gives us the weapons. We're going to run them the fuck over. And in fact, they're working as fast as they can to eliminate as many people as they can. Or get them to run away. Like, let's just be real. So, to try to start history at October 7th is fucking crazy. That's batshit crazy to me. But, alright, here we go. Once again, he's just toning the line. Here we go.
Attack against Israel on October 7th. No one denies that. Sinwar, who has just been killed, is a war criminal. No one denies that. So the issue is not whether Israel has a right to defend itself. It does.
I mean, Netanyahu's a war criminal too. But then again, so is George W. Bush. So is Biden, who was president at the time. Who was the incoming president, Donald Trump. He's a war criminal as well, if you ask me. And if they actually followed the letter of the law, all these guys would be considered war criminals. Right? I don't agree with everything Noam Chomsky says, but I think he makes it pretty blatantly clear, like, these are crimes against humanity. And all these presidents fucking do it. So, I get it. Bernie's playing to the crowd and he's strategizing, but guess what? I don't like that shit, man. Be real. Say your real opinion. If you're afraid to do that, even though you don't take money from them, right? So why are you beholden to them? Why are you beholden to AIPAC lobbyists or Israel lobby talking points if you're not beholden to them? Why? Will they guarantee you will get voted out, Bernie, because you're going against a genocide? Like, holy shit, man. Someone have some fucking balls. Otherwise, get the fuck out. Hopefully he defended Ilhan Omar. I remember Ilhan Omar said that shit about AIPAC, but I think Bernie gave some tacit support of her and said, oh, she's not an anti-Semite, stop it. But, all right, here we go.
Sinwar,
we don't have to dumb it down this much, is what I'm saying.
Is a war criminal. No one denies that. So the issue is not whether Israel has a right to defend itself. It does. But does it have a right to kill 42,000 Palestinians, two-thirds of whom are women, children, and the elderly? Does it have a right today to block humanitarian aid and starve children?
Now, once again, a lot of people would say those numbers are higher, but to me, like, if it was 2 children, 2 grandmas or grandpas, 2 innocent people, forget about women, like, innocent people in general. I don't know why we're leaving men out of that for some reason. Like, there's guys who are just carpenters or masons or fucking teachers or doctors. Doctors is a big one. Or journalists, another big one, journalists. So I don't know why you need to appeal, whatever, I get it. Dumb social rules for Bernie assumes he's talking to people that are dumb, thus he's dumbing down his language so that even they can understand, like, this is wrong. Hey, shit ton of children being killed. They're not Hamas, clearly, they're just children. They're not, toting guns around and shooting them. Some of them can't fucking walk yet. that are dying. So that's not Hamas. So we can't be okay with that, right, guys? I get it. He's dumbing it down. I just think there's a better way to say it to where even the dumb guy gets it, and you're not adding these little caveats that gives room to creepers, right? People that are blatant propagandists. We're supposed to be fighting the propagandists while also telling people problems that are out there, right? There's a simple way to do that. It's called being real. But, this is what Bernie thinks he has to do. He probably has shitty advisors. I'm sure Kyle will tell him to do the same thing too. But whatever, I don't know. He might not do that. All right, here we go.
Today to block humanitarian aid and starve children.
Well, I don't think they're
so.
blocking humanitarian aid. They're not blocking humanitarian aid.
Maria, the evidence. Maria, if I can say this, check what all of the organizations are saying. They are blocking humanitarian. Children by the thousands are dealing with malnutrition, are starving. So I think Israel has a right to defend itself, but it does not have a right to go to war against children and women in Gaza and destroy their entire society. That I do not agree with.
Okay. Paid for by friends of Bernie Sanders. All right. Those aren't the worst points to make. He's just trying to nail it home, like, yo, whatever you want to say, like, this is wrong. Even some of the ones we'll get to later, where he's a little afraid to call it what it is, for strategic political reasons, right? I don't think if Bernie calls what's happening in Israel a genocide, I don't think people of Vermont's going to vote him out all of a sudden. I think he's there to stay until he retires. Basically, he'd have to do a complete 180 on all his policies. But this shit, making no statements about that foreign policy thing, is in line with what people already think about him. So I don't know why is he doing that? I have some ideas. Maybe it has first name rhymes with Bo, last name rhymes with Leiden. Something like that. All right, well, let's keep it moving. Okay, so I guess this is yesterday, I believe. Yeah, it is yesterday, allegedly, where Bernie he's on a panel talking about anti-Semitism they're doing a full panel on it. I get the reasons why. It's like, oh, okay, why are all these college kids getting deported to foreign countries that may or may not be in conflicts right now? They may or may not have family here, but they're getting deported, right? They're taking away visas, and they're deporting people that are PhDs, students, teachers, doctors. They're getting rid of these fools that are here legally, by the way, which was the big talking point for a lot of Republicans to get, lefties to shut up. No. When Trump gets in office, they're targeting illegal immigrants, not the guy. We want the legal ones here. The ones that do this legally, we want them here. Turns out, no, they don't. Because little bitch boy Rubio follows master's orders. And no, I don't mean Israel by that. I mean, whoever's above him on the totem pole, he's a little bitch too. Let's be real. Might do a video later of a clip of Rubio getting bitched like a little boy. But anyways, so yeah, okay, here we go. An anti-Semitic panel. Once again, I don't think there's any Muslims or Palestinians or Arabs as a part of the table setting people. Maybe they did another panel or something. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I think they would do that with every group, right? When if they're like, okay, what is anti-black racism? They'll have a panel of 5 black people, right? Most likely. Maybe. Whatever. All right, so here we go. Bernie's gonna show some animation or some cartoon thing. Here we go of comparisons of anti-Semitic propaganda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And my questions are going to be addressed to all 5. We have 5 experts on anti-Semitism.
Okay. Bernie slams Trump administration over Gaza policy. Okay.
I look forward to taking advantage of their knowledge. This is not the Foreign Relations Committee, so we're not here to debate the wisdom or lack of wisdom of what the Netanyahu government is doing in Gaza right now. But the reality is that 92% of the housing units in Gaza have been destroyed. Most hospitals and primary healthcare facilities have been bombed. Civilian infrastructure has been devastated. 50,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed. Over 100,000 have been wounded. If I or any other member of this committee makes that point, that we think, and again, I don't want to debate the policies right now, but if we think that the United States should not be supplying more bombs and artillery to the Netanyahu government, do you think, I don't want the debate on Israel, do you think that is anti-Semitic? Briefly, Ms. Gamble, start it and go right down the line.
No. In fact, you should go further and call Netanyahu a fucking criminal. He's committing crimes against humanity. Or he's playing a role in it, right? He's not dropping all the bombs himself. It is a good amount of investigation that's needed on all fronts through the entire shit. From policymakers to soldiers doing things. Now, once again, I'm not some guy who's like, throw him in a cage and lock him up. I'm more of, expose the shit, though. Let everyone know what's going on. Because let's be real, Bernie's not going to say it. He's just not, right? It's too, I guess, too. He thinks the audience and the people out there, they think we're all too. He thinks we're all too dumb from the state of blatant facts of the matter, because it might hurt our feelings and we'll get upset with him or something. But he should honestly, he should be like, yeah, if you guys can't handle that, bro, why would I tell you anything? Like, what's the point? It's just fucking. Let's just secretly try to disarm Israel. Although it wouldn't disarm them. His idea will not disarm Israel, by the way. It'll just they'll just use their shit they have and maybe buy from other countries. Possibly. Like Russia would probably be willing to help, be real with you. But anyways, all right, here we go. It's a little too late for this.
Anti-Semitic if I say that the United States taxpayers should not supply more weapons to Israel?
That statement alone is not anti-Semitic. It does not attack Jewish identity.
Rabbi?
I must say,
The answer is no.
you are revered on one side of the aisle and respected on the other side of the aisle for the strength of your convictions. You do not say dispassionate statements. So just like I believe we have to respect the right of everyone to their opinion, I believe the Prime Minister is a democratically elected official and is entitled to his opinion. Do I think it is anti-Semitic to criticize him? I don't think so. If you criticize somebody who's Jewish, that's not anti-Semitic. If you criticize the fact that they're Jewish,
Right, I
or
agree.
use that to criticize something, that's anti-Semitic.
Dr. Small, briefly.
Okay, but then again, like once again, you see how like let's be, I'm not saying that I don't know who that guy is, but like some of the propaganda that's out there where they purposely mix Palestinians and Hamas together. So if you say I support Palestinians because, like you said, like I support Palestinians and I'm in America protesting because I don't want my tax dollars going to Israel, who's killing Palestinians. All right, but they're like, oh, when they say Palestinian, that means Hamas, which is what someone like Ben Shapiro means. And for some reason, those guys get more policy shit than anyone else. It doesn't make sense. The fucking weirdos always get the policy nod. It's fucking bizarre, man. Like a regular person doesn't get that luxury. Like a regular person be like, oh no, I see what those are crimes, bro. And yeah, you should call that out. But if Ben will be like, well, that means you're supporting the destruction of Israel, and you're supporting the Hamas terrorist. You're a terrorist Hamas supporter, and and then for some reason the lawmakers follow Ben's version of things. Somehow, and it's not just Trump's administration. It is not just Trump's administration. I hope people realize that. But yeah, simple answer from the second guy that talked. No, that's not anti-Semitic. Next. Pretty simple. And also Netanyahu grabbing a pistol, putting it to a kid's head, and pulling the trigger is not a matter of opinion. That's not an opinion coming out of the bullet, bro. That's a bullet. Or coming out of the gun. That's a bullet. He's not firing opinions at Palestinians. He's firing missiles and bullets. So, it's like, would it be wrong to call him a war criminal? I wonder what these guys would say. Like, oh, he's a war criminal and he's committing a genocide. Would that be anti-Semitic? That should have been his question. Like, really, let's really get into it, Bernie. But Bernie, once again, he's going to play politics because I think he sucks at this shit. I think he's terrible at it. I know he looks good compared to some of the wackos that are in office, right? He looks like a brilliant genius, you know, the nicest person on earth. I know he looks that way compared to those fools, but look at it realistically. Would you let this happen? You as an individual, you in the audience, would you ask questions like this, or would you like say it in a way that makes them recognize, like, oh, it's okay to call Netanyahu a fucking war criminal? If we can call Gaddafi or Assad or Hussein a war criminal, we can call Netanyahu that. That would have been the better question. But all right, here we go. I'll just let it fly by.
Somebody
Sorry.
who's Jewish.
I have too many opinions, bro.
That's
What
not
do you want from me?
anti-Semitic. If you criticize the fact that they're Jewish,
Right, I
or
agree.
use that to criticize something, that's anti-Semitic.
Dr. Small, briefly, we don't have a lot of time.
Real quick. Sorry. It could be a part of the assessment, though, couldn't it? That could be. Like, oh, you're taking. Like, let's say there's a police shooting, right? Like, oh, you're taking the criminal side. You know why? I think you're doing that because you're black and you want to be cool with your other black people or whatever. Which I think would be kind of stupid. They should have said, like, but there are people who do that. There are people who do that. Well, guess what? There are people who are Jewish who will favor Israel regardless. They might not even investigate what's actually happening over there, but they still pick a team. That 100% happens. 150 million %. And we've seen it on videotape where you bring facts and logic, right? And they use their feelings to debunk it. I mean, Ben Shapiro is probably a great example. Hey, Ben, what do you think about the genocide and that Israel's committing against Palestinians? You are a Hamas supporter? It's like, how's that like? Now, would it be crazy to be like, Ben's doing that because he was raised this way, he was conditioned this way? It's definitely not inherently Jewish, but he's doing it because that's his identity of being Jewish. Just like there's plenty of Jewish people who want nothing to do with that creepy fucking war criminal shit. Because, like, to say it's inherently Jewish to be like that is crazy. But to say, like, that might be a reason why Ben's doing it, for sure works. I think it works a lot. But, and again, here we go.
So again, I would agree with the rabbi. What you said is not anti-Semitic, but what I would say with great respect is that we have to flip the equation.
Yeah,
I
flip
think
it.
instead of blaming the victim or looking to the victim of Hamas, of the Muslim Brotherhood, we have to understand the ideology at work that's confronting
I don't think there's any
Israel.
debate up here that Hamas is a terrorist organization. What they did on October 7th is beyond disgusting. Rabbi Saperstein.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, a real dude who actually investigated everything, but, well, I mean, even Netanyahu funded those fools, so the U.S. has funded them before with the Muslim Brotherhood, I think dating back to like Mujahideen fucking days and all that shit, where these groups start like magically spawning all over the fucking world somehow. But yeah. I mean, like, yeah, like, if he's gonna add caveats like that, he should add the other caveat too, like, oh yeah, the leaders of Hamas, this act on October 7th, yeah, horrible, war crime stuff, killing innocent civilians, war crime stuff. But guess what? Netanyahu's also guilty. So let's give them a little fucking island where they can play twinkle toes all day and night with each other. Give them all the guns they want and let them shoot each other. I'm trolling. Don't give them guns. Give them, like, I don't know. Give them, like, Scrabble. They can have Scrabble tournaments. Hamas versus the Netanyahu administration. Give them a tropical island to go play Scrabble against each other. Or, like, Call of Duty or something. I don't know. It's like there's always that caveat of that, but like Bernie said, like, well, there's also another caveat here. No, he's committing a genocide. It's a war criminal. He's killing children at like an ungodly pace. And hundreds of thousands dead and a population of 2.2 million people. Yeah, that's killing at a quite hefty rate, I would say. But I don't know. They don't get that caveat for some reason. But all right, here we go.
They did it on October 7th is beyond disgusting. Rabbi Saperstein.
No, I don't think it is anti-Semitic if you say it, or if people on college campuses say it. But on college campuses, there are too many instances in which those kinds of political statements are mixed with rank hatred against Jews, and that steps over the line into anti-Semitism.
Now, once again, because I live in the real world, I would have to ask for example, like, what do you mean by that? Because yes, there are people you can scroll up and down fucking Twitter. You'll find some weirdos out there. You'll find a lot of weirdos on Twitter, to be honest with you, that honestly look at Jewish instead of the country of Israel. They look at Jewish. There's plenty of people like that on fucking Twitter. I promise you that. But I need an example of what he's saying in regards to college students, because what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of Jewish students amongst them protesting with them, not separately, but to like. Their whole point is to point out the crimes that Israel's doing. Now, could there be a few of them that are fucking assholes? But sure. But I think for the, on average of the mass of people there, they're looking at crime and they're saying that's a crime. Why are we giving them money and weapons to commit the fucking crime? Why are we being complicit with the crime? Is that the right word, complicit? There's another word. Accessories? Why are we being accessories to the crime? I think a lot of people are asking that. And once again, I feel stupid when I say that. Like, oh, there's a lot of Jewish students protesting. Like, that sounds fucking stupid. But guess what? When these assholes get on stand here and they say, there's a lot of anti-Semitism going on here, and it's like, it almost makes you point out, like, well, no, it's not. Well, for me, I'd be like, no, it's not. But for someone to answer it regularly for on the surface for some sort of slam dunk on the guy, like, well, there's plenty of Jewish students that are amongst these protests. like in solidarity with these other kids. And no, they're not all Arabs either. So it's whatever. Whatever. It seems like a simple shit, but for real. Leave it up to boomers to fuck the world up. Old fucking dumb fucks to fuck the world up. But all right, here we go. We're getting to the cartoon, guys. Sorry.
And that steps over the line.
I mean, it's going to be a long video. I got much more. I got many more clips and a lot more opinions.
That statement, that opinion alone is not anti-Semitic.
Okay, now I need your help on something else. I have never met George Soros in my life, to the best of my knowledge. I don't believe I've ever received a nickel in campaign funding from Mr. Soros. But I think, as all of you know, Soros has been...
There it is, Burns anti-Semite. Look at those pictures. He did it. I'm trolling.
A stereotype, a manifestation of anti-Semitism all over the world. Yes? Warren? So when we talk about anti-Semitism, one of the tropes that has always been used, Protocols of Zion, is that there's this mysterious underground group of zillionaire Jews who are manipulating the whole world, right? Is that the trope? Okay. This,
the
Holocaust Memorial Museum,
I think it's
something that's
shape-shifted a little bit in modern times, but
Semitic publication. Jews puppeteers, right? Familiar with that trope? Mm-hmm. This is from a Donald Trump.
It's China, though. It's a big China flag, though.
George Soros, puppeteer. Biden is the puppet being manipulated.
That looks like it's on behalf of China, though, Bernie. That looks like a China flag back there. And I think there's a reason for that, Bernie. It's because, once again, Trump is not the most pro-Jewish president of all time. He's the most pro-Israel, Zionism fucking president, on the surface at least, that I think we've ever seen, right? Like, on the surface? Like, it's straight up. So, like, this won't help them. This won't help Bernie. I get it, Soros is Jewish, and, oh, look, Soros is control it, but I think they mean left-leaning. It's like what Crowder says about AIPAC. You know, I don't like AIPAC. Why not? They support Democrats. What about lobbying people to say talking points that supports the mass genocide that's happening in Gaza? No, I'm okay with that. They're supporting Democrats, bro. That's the real problem here. And I think they're making the same point in this other poster. So this thing is just, I don't know what it is, Bernie. Do you actually think he's anti-Semitic? Isn't his fucking son-in-law and daughter both Jewish? Donald Trump? What the freak? And I mean, blank checks to Israel. Which is, once again, that's government shit. But on the surface, and what most people would be like, oh, how could he be anti-Semitic and give so much to the Jewish state? So this is just a lost point to. It's weird. Like, you're still defending Biden. You're still calling Trump trying to get Trump to be seen as anti-Semitic. Like, Bernie, that's not good. Does he believe that? Is he that out of shape? Or is that like strategy shit? If it's strategy, I don't think that's gonna work, man. He should have took a poster out and showed the fucking dead bodies. Like, this is not acceptable, right, guys? You right there. Sit down. Is this acceptable? Huh? Are you okay with this? It's not that students, should protest. It's that students have to protest. Like, imagine Bernie going on a giant fucking rant. Like, I mean, he'd have more work to get my vote. More work to do to get my vote, but I'm saying, like, oh shit, okay. Where'd that come from? Where's this guy been hiding for, like, ever? But anyways.
Okay. I don't want to make a big deal about it, Ms. Gamble.
I'm done with this video. Next video. Next. We get it, Bernie. Trump or his campaign, they're anti-Semitic. And college kids that are criticizing Netanyahu or Israel, they're not. I got it. But that's not the approach you go to. I would think you would go with, now Trump claims to be the most pro-Israel president, but, like, this is the result of it. See these dead babies here? This is not pro-Israel. It's pro-conquering. That's what it is. That's what it represents. He could have went on a whole spiel about that. But nope. Bernie he plays the game, guys. Sorry to say it. And yes, Kyle, maybe that makes me an enemy for being that way. There's a little more here where he goes more into the crimes, I guess. So let's be fair here. Let's hear him out talking more about the crimes of Netanyahu. Although he should say Israel. Like, you should say, like, the government of Israel. It's more than just him. Just like when I say crimes about the U.S., it's not just Donald Trump. It's him and all his little buddies in there, including Democrats. Let's be real. Biden kept this shit going, too, which is what we're going to find out later when I go through some other videos. Strap in. It's going to be a long video, guys. It's going to be a long video. Here we go.
Of this committee and saying that hate and discrimination of any kind is beyond acceptable and has no place in our society. In the United States of America in the year 2025, it should not be a controversial statement to say that anti-Semitism is horrific and must not be tolerated any place in our country.
I would almost like it more. I think, like, well, this would be more of my opinion, where it's like, if they're just talking, let them talk. Let them say what they want to say. Like, and allow people to have pushback. Once again, intellectually, with their words, have pushback. But when it comes to straight up, like, we're blowing up people, like, that can't be tolerated. That has to stop. And this isn't some situation where it's like, oh my God, do I drop a nuke on Israel or not? Do I go to war with Israel or not? What do I do? It's like, it's more of like, oh, look what you guys are doing. Yeah, we're not giving you weapons. That's it for that. That's done with. And I think that's part of Bernie's solution too. It's just, man, he could make a much more compelling argument if he really dove into, like, either he's ignorant about it, in which case it's like, why are you call in a friend, call in Jeffrey Sachs, call him in. He worked on your campaign. Call him in and be like, yo, Jeffrey, can you argue this for me? Let him know the exact crimes that this government has committed, and it makes sense why kids over here are protesting it, and kids over there, by the way. There's young people in all the countries involved, right? From Europe to the U.S. to Palestine, Gaza, West Bank, Israel. There's young people all over fucking protesting this shit. Because we have the internet and we can see what's happening. So, it's like you say, like, it's almost teethless if you don't actually make the full argument. And let's be real, if you're not studying this and you're the one talking, right, like, it doesn't make sense. Call in a friend, let them do it. Because he seems like he misses so much information there. But all right, here we go.
And must not be tolerated any place in our country. Let us never forget that anti-Semitism has plagued Jewish people for many, many, many centuries, culminating in the slaughter of some 6 million Jews during the Holocaust. Mr. Chairman, a number of years ago, my wife and I visited Auschwitz. I don't know if you have ever done that, but I would recommend that anybody here who goes to Europe drop by, and it's certainly something that you will never forget.
Don't worry, there'll be a Gaza museum soon too, because it is a fucking genocide, and hopefully one day humans figure it out, and then they'll have their own little museum, and you're gonna have to sit back, Bernie, and be like, "Damn, did I do enough about that?" I know I said maybe I had the right policy towards it, but did I say enough as, like, in regards to convincing people, like, how bad it really is? Am I making enough noise about that? Or are these college kids that are getting booted from the country speaking up a lot louder than I am? See, those guys can be deported. I can't. I can't even be voted out. Let's be real. AIPAC, Republicans, corporate Democrats, they can fund your opponent all day and night. They're not beating you, Bernie Sanders, in Vermont. It's just not happening. So, your seat is safe. So fucking let it fly, dude. You like that old person who's like, hey, fuck it, I'm old anyways, and they just do acid and mushroom all day and shit. They just, like, fuck it. I'm not worried about my figure or my health, or like, I'm fucking old, I'm dying soon. Might as well party. That's what he needs to go full-blown YOLO. That's what we need from Bernie. Need him to rip, like, gray ass chest hairs poking out of it. He rips his shirt. Like, I'm here, bitches. I need him to let it fly, bro. We need it, Bernie. We need it. If not, get the fuck out of the way so someone else can. And all these people that are, what is it, like the AOCs, and if they're not going to do it either, get the fuck out, because someone else will. Someone will be more aggressive verbally, and maybe even more aggressively nonviolent too. As far as, like, what policies they sign off on and their rhetoric in regards to it, you can be very aggressive while also maintaining, like, oh no, I stand on the moral high ground still. Like, my solution isn't to bomb Israel. It's to, not give them bombs to drop. And if someone else gives them bombs, like, you point it out with all your might. You do what you can. You just do some Trump stuff. Make a deal. Make a deal. All right, here we go.
A number of years ago, I was
so lackluster,
in
bro.
Pittsburgh, and I spoke with the rabbi at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. As you recall, it was the worst slaughter of Jews in American history. 7 Jews were killed by somebody at a synagogue. So
I would have said all these Americans that were supporting Hitler during World War II, like, and the Holocaust, like, yeah, those guys may be more responsible for the biggest slaughter of Jews. You could say IBM, that provided those beautiful little tattoos and number coatings on their arms. Henry Ford with factories and mechanical technology and all that shit. Like, yeah, those guys might be the biggest contributors to slaughtering of Jews in American history. But once again, will or can Bernie point that out? Does he even know about it? He probably doesn't know about it. But if he did know, would he say it? I don't know. He might be afraid of hurting American industries. Which is like, what? Oh, you're kind of a weak dude, bro. Anyways, here we go. But also, yeah, the synagogue shit, that's horrible. Just like any mass shooting, it's fucking horrible. But here we go.
You recall it was the worst slaughter of Jews in American history.
Also, if you want to call this nitpicking, go ahead, go for it. Once again, I'm already on the enemy list. I'm running with it. According to Kyle Kulinski, I'm on the enemy list, and I'm rolling with it, bro. I'm leaning into it. I ain't no bitch. I ain't no pussy. All right, here we go.
Jews were
killed by
somebody at a synagogue. So let me be very clear. Anti-Semitism on college campuses or any place else must be condemned in the strongest possible terms. But today we should also be clear that we, and again, I hope I speak for every member of this committee, condemn all forms of bigotry. Vile hatred is not something that should exist in the United States, whether it is racism against the African American community, whether it's sexism, whether it's homophobia, whether it is xenophobia, or whether it is Islamophobia. Today in America, we have Asian Americans who are walking the streets and...
By the way, there are groups out there that are looking like they're doing the investigating of students. And then they're handing it over to the government. Like, yo, these guys, look what these guys are saying. Like, these guys are being pointed out by some random group, I don't fucking know, super pro-Israel group, pointing these people out, and then getting them kicked out of the country. It's like they're afraid of like sweet little girls and shit, bro. Like the biggest pussies the biggest rats on the planet. Let's be honest. Aspen Gold might be a bigger rat, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, here we go.
Getting harassed.
But those guys won't get in trouble for doing that, by the way. They won't get in trouble for it.
Streets and getting harassed. We continue to see people who are African American and Latino face prejudice of all kinds. And in fact, we have seen a rise in hate crimes against...
That's right, Bernie. You hear my voice, Bernie? I get harassed for having this voice, but being a 6'3" yoked super athlete, at the same time, black super freak athlete, 40-inch vertical, savage athlete, super strong, bench pressing 350 or some shit like that. But I have this voice, and I get made fun of for it. That's harassment, bro. I want some reconciliation for this. Anyways, here we go.
Against the transgender community as well. And I want to remind people, because this is kind of a little bit personal, in my city of Burlington, Vermont, just a couple of years ago, 3 miles from where I live, 10 minutes away, 3 young Palestinian students, wonderful kids, because I ended up talking to them. They were shot in cold blood, because they were Palestinians. So, Mr. Chairman, I applaud you for holding this hearing, but I hope when we look about prejudice and bigotry in America, we may want to expand it. Anti-Semitism, unacceptable. So is Islamophobia and other forms of bigotry. Now, the other thing, and you touched on it a moment ago.
Palestinian doesn't automatically mean Muslim. It can mean Jewish. It can mean Christian. It can mean atheist. Whatever. I don't think he was saying that. I'm just adding. Just being an asshole, nitpicking. Being the enemy, all right? Forgive me. Here we go.
Go, Mr. Chairman. There is a great dispute and debate in this country about what's going on in Gaza right now. No great secret about that. As you indicated, Mr. Chairman, in October of a year and a half ago, Hamas, a terrorist organization, launched...
Actually, before he says this, that'd be like... This is terrible, but, anything goes on this channel. That'd be like, yeah, what if all of Palestine, every citizen there, even Hamas, they throw their weapons away and they all convert to Judaism in front of everyone? They're like, all right, roll Jewish stuff. Don't shoot. I'm curious what would happen, bro. I'm actually curious. Sorry, dark humor. Here we go.
Gaza right now. No great secret about that. As you indicated, Mr. Chairman, in October of a year and a half ago, Hamas, a terrorist organization, launched a horrific attack against Israel. It killed 1,200 innocent men, women, and children, took several hundred people hostage. I don't think there's anybody on this committee who does not believe that Israel had the right to defend itself and go after Hamas, terrorist organization.
I mean, if you're going to go blow for blow here in regards to, in regards to the crimes you just listed, like, well, that would make a whole bunch of countries, actually, terrorist groups. Like, by those standards, that would make a whole bunch of people terrorist groups. Like, hey, it is what it is. I'm just saying, like, but once again, he can't do that because I don't know. I really don't know why. Like, it can't be strategic. Like, is he going to run for president again? Like, if he doesn't he want to tell the truth? Like, yo, might as well go out swinging. Because the last two times he's just like tempers out and make sure Hillary or Joe Biden gets elected. Like, campaigns for him when he's done. Like, what? Like, when is it going to start, guys? I've been hearing this Bernie trust the plan shit for fucking years now, and I'm still waiting. Like, when's it going to pan out? When's it going to be like, fuck it, I'm going after everyone. I'm letting it fly, bro. When's that going to happen? It's either that or he actually believes, like, when he seemingly holds back his opinions on certain things, like, it's because he actually believes that. We have to take him at his word now. No more trust the plan. Oh, no, Bernie secretly means this. It is what it is. And with my moral code, once again, I can't, like, sure, I understand why people be like, oh, he's better than this person or that person. Like, okay, I understand that. And if you voted for him, I understand. But I've seen too many glaring mistakes and too much cowardice for me to support him. That doesn't mean, you do your thing. I think it'd be stupid. I think we need to, like, let's wake the fuck up. Let's wake up. Let's call out bullshit wherever we see it, no matter who says it. If it's sweet old Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Netanyahu, whoever the fuck says it, call them out for it as soon as you hear it. I don't see any problem with that. And make sure you're like what you know you're risking when you pull the lever for any of these guys. Just make sure you know it. Just like I understand the risk of me not pulling a lever for someone. Like, I understand those risks. But my moral code cannot risk something I feel is ultimately guaranteed. Which is, it will just be a continuation of destroying the world. And not even saying Bernie would mean to do that. I'm just saying he's not even president, and he has all these blind spots. Imagine when he's in office and he's surrounded by military dudes telling him this, and that. And he'll authorize this airstrike, but maybe not that one, man. Maybe he'll authorize less missile strikes and less drone strikes and shit like that. But guess what? They'll still be flying anyways somewhere. And I can't risk anyone. I can't risk it. The only thing I do is get on a microphone and yell like, yo, not good enough. You're not good enough for this. That's all I can do. Unless I get superpowers. Then, even then I leave it up to choice for people. What do you want to do? If you want the world to be a chaotic piece of shit, please. By all means, guys. All right, here we go.
But, Mr. Chairman, there are very serious disagreements about what the Netanyahu government has done in Gaza. And some of us think that Netanyahu has not just gone after Hamas, they've gone after the Palestinian people. And in a nation or group of 2.2 million Palestinians in Gaza, over 50,000 of them have been killed, over half of whom, 2/3 of them, are women and children.
Once again, I think that number's a lot larger, but whatever. You could have said 10. I'd be like, yeah, that's horrible. Stop them. But, all right, here we go.
Over 100,000 people have been wounded because of the incessant bombing on civilian areas. The entire infrastructure of Gaza, their entire healthcare system, their educational system, their water system has been completely destroyed.
There are no more universities left in Gaza. They're all gone. There are no more universities. Like, now, unless Hamas is like, we have a thing for universities, we hide in the football field somewhere. Like, holy shit! Look, it's Hamas. It's hiding in their water purifiers. Blow it up. Look, it's Hamas hiding in the electrical grid. Blow it up. Shut it off. It's like at a certain point, like, come on, guys. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, and everyone who doesn't point out all those things, it looks crazy. It looks crazy, especially if you looked into it and you hear about all the crimes that are happening. If you looked into it and you hear people not saying things, anything about any of this stuff, that should be full-blown wreckage. And Bernie's saying some stuff, but like, man, I'm sorry if it feels like nitpicking, but it is what it is. I don't think he's doing nearly enough. Like, off the top of my head, I feel like there's more things he could be saying. That really drives the point home. Like, this is not a matter of, a mistake that Netanyahu's making, or that the Israeli government's making, and military's making. This is not a mistake. This is not an oopsie. They are purposely mowing down human beings. Purposely. And the only thing I see why they would stop in certain places is because they know American doctors are there, or foreign journalists are there, or like Australian people are somewhere. All right, even though I think they have killed probably from all three of those, or even the UN. I think there's UN workers that have been killed. Plenty of journalists. And this has been happening. Once again, this is the culmination of all the crimes we've seen Israel do for decades. They're just doing it all at once now in just one giant vacuum. Like, October 7th was the red button. It got pushed, and they're like, we can do whatever we want now, and we're going to fucking slaughter you motherfuckers. And they have been. Allegedly, including their own people. But I assume with that government, like, oh, worth it. Worth it. Because even if we go down, we still got rid of these fools, and now we own the entire territory. It's all ours now. You know what? Boo and hiss me, but guess what? We got all this land now. It's ours. I mean, Trump has been giving them anything they want. Period. It's been neocons supporting neocons. And guess what? He's only a couple months in. So, let's be real. It looks fucking hopeless in regards to Gaza. It looks absolutely hopeless. Like, they're just more people getting pushed further. Like, all their homes are fucking destroyed, bro. And then when these fools go to tents, they blow the tents up too. So, like, it looks absolutely hopeless. And it is at such a point where that's when you need Bernie to not be a fucking pussy. Like, get up there and let it be fucking known. Like, really let it be known. Fucking hold buildings up if you like. Look what these kids are doing in these colleges. Maybe you copy them. I don't know. Occupy a fucking office or something. Sit there. Get arrested because you're famous Bernie Sanders, and you're willing to get arrested. He's done it before in his past when he was younger. Maybe he doesn't have the energy to do it. Whatever. But it's like, they're trying to make these motherfuckers go extinct. And that's what essentially would happen, I think. The ones who get pushed out and leave, they'll end up mixing in other populations, and then this idea of Palestinian will just be like a word-of-mouth thing, or a history book lesson. And the rest who stay get killed. Because just like the propaganda that's been happening in this country, is they have been, like, once again, like Ben Shapiro, right? Intermixing this idea of Palestinian and Hamas. They've been intermixing those terms together. And because they're doing that, they feel a reason to shut up anyone that's complaining about it, or what the government is doing over there, which they can just call anyone Hamas. I mean, it's batshit crazy. Batshit crazy. Like Bernie's putting it in the like once again, he's critiquing. I think he calls Netanyahu a criminal. I think he wants to call him a right-wing criminal, in particular because he's playing politics. But it's like, damn, what do we do when people are using human shields? Bernie, can you? Hey, maybe you don't have to believe that story. How about you try to bring up an inquiry into it? Hey, can we investigate this? Can we look into this? Are they taking some old people, strapping bombs to them, and having them walk out in front of everyone else? Is that real? Maybe it's make-believe. I don't know. How about we investigate it? Someone made the claim. I've heard the claim before. I'm sure plenty of you guys have heard the claim of human shields. How about we investigate it, Bernie? If you don't know enough, get your fucking team on it. Like, yo, guys, scour the fucking internet, newspapers, every publicate, anything you can find. Find me, like, the worst, like, what's the worst shit we're finding here? And then keep going and going and bring me every little detail you can find, and then I will fucking let the world know. You're breaking records, huh? Going out there, you're talking to crowds, you're breaking records, bro? Well, guess what? It's not the time. I don't think it's time to rally them up to vote for you or someone you favor, like AOC. I don't think that's the time. Because guess what? By the time 4 years rolls around, and either you or AOC or some other candidate you like, Tim Walz, whatever the fuck, by the time they run it, like it's probably going to be over. Like I said, a significant chunk of their population has died. Another chunk has fled. It's all rubble. It's going to take decades to rebuild that place. And Trump's going to say, well, what's the point of coming back then? Just leave. He's going to let them, and it's like, you want to kill them, Ben? You want to kill him, BB? Huh? You want to kill him? All right, go ahead. Here's more weapons. You're not stopping that. He tried to stop the shit in Yemen, but guess what? He just vetoes it and keeps giving him weapons. It's GG's at this point, unless it's some sort of miraculous thing. Like someone's like, the Israeli people are like, that's it, we're done with this, and they fucking hold Netanyahu to account. Unless that happens, I mean, there's people out there protesting, but it's not enough. It's not enough, and then they're being abused and beat up by their own fucking police. So, like, this is not enough. And yet people who are from those areas that can tell you stories of things in this country, but they're now getting fucking kicked out. This is not time to sit down in your seat and just say some words, bro. Like, it's really, like, make people like, yo. Like, I was talking to a friend here. I'm like, yo, do you really, like, yo, in our lifetimes, there's actual, like, Holocaust happening right now. Like, as we speak. There are people being eliminated right now. And it's like, let that be known, Bernie. Like, louder. Let them know louder. But, all right, here we go. I'm fucking wrecked.
And according to international law, and in my view, what Netanyahu has done is criminal. So we can agree that anti-Semitism is unacceptable in all forms. But some of us happen to believe that the response of the Netanyahu government to the Hamas attack is also unacceptable. And if anyone wants to suggest that I or anybody else who speaks out on that issue, whether you're
what is it possible that the Hamas attack was a result of something? Like, once again, this is not favoritism towards Hamas. I don't like any type of this type of violence. I think it's a bunch of idiots doing it. A bunch of hurt people or dumb fucks or psychos doing this shit. Let's be honest. But guess what? If you took things in all fairness, someone can make a reason that, like, Hamas had a reason to do that. Because guess what? Israel was not subjugating Gaza or the West Bank or Palestine or whatever. Just starting after October 7th. Like, no, this goes on for years and years. Homes bulldozed. people, like the prisoners that Hamas was negotiating for, they were in there for years, tortured, emaciated, like down to skin and bones, for years. There's been journalists getting killed and shot at. There's been doctors getting killed and shot for peaceful protests. No Hamas shit. Just regular Palestinians out there that are doctors or fucking teachers. Some people disabled in fucking wheelchairs. Kids get too close to the fence, they get fucking popped. And they film it on their fucking iPhones or whatever the fuck. While they're giggling. These are real things, dude. So, like, that's real. He's never going to keep it real, let's be honest. And I don't see any political advantage to that. Someone point one out to me. What's the political advantage? You're not going to get him out of office. Who the fuck is going to roll through Vermont and take down Bernie Sanders? Unless they're further left than he is. That's the only thing I can think of. Is that if they had the exact same policies as Bernie Sanders, but they weren't tepid about what's happening in our foreign policy in general, let's be real. That's the only thing I could see beating Bernie Sanders in Vermont. He's old. He's probably going to retire soon anyways. Probably not running for president. But it's like, you've walked the line, Bernie, and they don't let you win, ever. They pulled Joe Biden out of his fucking crypt, and he fucking beat you, dude. Hillary Clinton, one of the most hated politicians in American history. Beat you. So you might as well go down guns blazing, bro. So I can't actually see a reason of why he's holding his tongue and why he's I don't know, not keeping it real about any topic. Any topic. Maybe he doesn't want to, maybe he doesn't believe in it. If he doesn't believe in it, then that's fine, right? He just doesn't know anything. Or he doesn't know, or he doesn't believe that, or he feels like he has different information that's more correct to him. That I'd be fair with. But then again, now it turns to the audience and the Bernie supporters out there. It's like, well then, maybe he's not the candidate you want. Maybe you don't want a bunch of, like as Kyle said, a bunch of Bernie Sanders in there. Maybe you want a bunch of better than Bernie Sanders in there. I mean, for me, I'd be like, yo, you weren't out your welcome as a holding place, as like being some sort of holding place for other lefty progressives to get into fucking Congress and shit. Like, all right, I'm tired of the bullshit, man. That's just where I'm at. But all right, here we go.
In all forms. But some of us happen to believe that the response of the Netanyahu government to the Hamas attack is also unacceptable. And if anyone wants to suggest that I or anybody else who speaks out on that issue, whether you're on a college campus or in the United States Senate, is anti-Semitic because we think that what Netanyahu is doing is outrageous, we can have that debate. If I attack the Italian government for doing what they may or may not be doing, I'm not anti-Italian, or the Irish government. To attack the Netanyahu government for their outrageous activities in Gaza does not make one an anti-Semite.
I agree. Man, he should have brought a poster for, like, because he did a whole presentation about, I guess, a poster that maybe Trump's campaign made or something like that. For some reason showed some evidence there, but show some evidence of the other stuff. Don't just say numbers. Show them. Like, this is what he's doing. Do you understand why young people are pissed off and they're protesting this? You guys understand that now? Do you get it? All right. So, do I need to show more, or what? Pretty easy, Bernie. But, okay. Now let's go back. Once again, this is gonna be a long video. Let's go back and see some clips from what I believe is a year ago of something where Bernie refuses to. This is what kicked off me making this video, by the way. Where Bernie, like a year ago, I guess refused to say the word genocide. Refused to say it. And once again, fuck words. Whatever the words are, whatever, right? or textbook definitions of words. But I think why people are complaining about it is because that's a strong word. That is to say, a crime is happening. And maybe my opinion, like this, it may be my conspiracy-minded opinion, maybe. Maybe Bernie was hesitant to call it a genocide because it'd be happening under Joe Biden, who's also funding and giving weapons to Israel, just like Trump is now. Maybe since Trump's in office, he's less afraid to be like, this is a genocide, this is a war crime, and look who's supporting him. But when Biden's in office, maybe he's afraid to say that because it'll hurt the Democratic Party. Which is bullshit strategy, but all right, here we go.
In your view, is what Israel is doing in Gaza a genocide?
In my view, it is absolutely disgraceful, horrible, and I'm doing, as a United States Senator, everything I can to end it.
But do you buy the South African case at the International Court of Justice that what Israel is doing in Gaza constitutes genocide or genocidal acts?
I think, look, we can argue about definitions. It is horrible.
But if one agrees that it is a genocide, it means that other states...
I just look edited. Is this edited? Edited. I know Kyle reacts to this, but all right, here we go.
I think, look, we can argue about definitions. It is horrible.
But if one agrees that it is a genocide, it means that other states have a legal right and duty to prevent genocidal acts being carried out.
But see, we can talk about that. But what does that mean? I mean, in real terms, right now, what I am trying to do is what I think is probably maybe, and I can do it because I'm a senator. You can't. Right now, maybe,
Fuck.
if we tell Mr. Netanyahu that he's not getting a check for $10 billion more to continue his aggressive action, he and his right-wing friends may decide it is not a good idea to continue to do that.
Okay, once again, what we've seen from Netanyahu and his history of things, Bernie, is he is, in my opinion, corrupt as it gets as a politician, bro. He is seemingly psychopathic about this as well. Like, it seems like the lights are not on with that guy. And I think he's more than okay with... Yeah, you got the shot. You got the shot lined up? Yeah, shoot the kid. Go ahead, kill him. I truly believe that about Netanyahu. So, Bernie, you're kind of like... history, like... Maybe that's why the scroll guy tweeted this out, because it's like, yo, history's not going to look well at, about this thing right here. I know people are going to wash over it and forget about it because they need to get you elected. But that is supremely damning. Worried about Netanyahu being, I don't call people evil, but I call actions evil. 100%. I've said this a million times. I mean, this is Bernie backing down from blatant evil. I'm just saying, bro. Not to mention the things that his own government does, right? He's been in office, he's been seeing Obama, Bush, Biden, Trump, and Trump's the only one I've heard really give a tongue lashing to. Pause. Is Trump. So, I mean, is he just out of shape or something? This is only a year ago, right? This isn't 10 years ago. Did he hit his apex? He's like, oh fuck, I'm too tired. I don't want to do this. Fuck, man. I don't know. Me personally, I'm personally thinking he can't call it that because Biden's in office, and it makes Biden look bad if he's overseeing a genocide. Because then Trump will just use it as ammo, right? And then he'll continue the genocide, right? But he'll make fun of Bernie or Biden first, even Sleepy Joe's own people, even his own people think he's letting a genocide happen. I don't think that, but that's what his own people are saying. So when I get in office, I'm gonna make a deal because that's what I make deals. I make some deals. And it'll be over. The beautiful beachfront property. Jesus.
Yo, you're fucking stupid, bro. Holy shit.
They tried to give me the virus. But like, am I wrong? I'm not wrong though. That's exactly. He said beachfront fucking property, bro. He's like, yeah, that's what we'll turn Gaza. It'll be a beautiful place. But first, those people gotta leave though. They gotta leave first. Israel finished the job. Obviously, when he said that during the debates, he said Israel needs to finish the job, and the moderator didn't stop him. Like, excuse me, what? Do you know what's going on over there? It's like they're not even journalists either. So it's like it's all a show. And it's like, Bernie, if we're supposed to believe in you, what is Kyle called? America's dad. If you're actually that, you better fucking pony up, man, because this is. I mean, once again, you don't have to call it the Holocaust, another Holocaust, or whatever. But it's like something like the numbers that Bernie points out. I think even those are like understated, but those are still like they should be mind-boggling. Wow, that's happening. It's happening in the world in my lifetime. It's like people can't compute it. It's like the immigration thing that's happening in this country. They can't compute walking down the street, dudes in masks walking up to you, not identifying themselves, put you in handcuffs, put you in a car, and transport you to Louisiana when you're all the way in Massachusetts. They can't compute that. Like, imagine what that person's going through. Being snatched up and transported to Louisiana and then transported on a plane out of the fucking country. Swiftly. Before the judges start calling it back, like, wait a minute, you can't do that. Do it before they can react. Imagine that shit. Imagine that shit, then listen to guys like this talk, like Bernie talk. And it's like, man, you were underselling, like, how bad this is. There we go.
Maybe, if we tell Mr. Netanyahu that he's not getting a check for $10
Oh, you're
billion
gonna take his
more
allowance
to
away?
continue with
He's
the
shooting
genocide,
babies in the face?
he and his right-wing friends may decide it is not a good idea to continue to do that. So that's where
We'll take your money away while you're blowing up babies.
In addition to
I can't call it
stopping
genocide.
the
That's going too
billions of
far.
dollars in military aid that Israel gets from the United States every year, would you back calls for a cultural, sporting, and economic boycott of Israel?
I am nervous about economic boycotts of any country, to be honest with you. But right now,
I am too, but you can work the figures out. As in, you can sanction things in regards to arms or territory expansion, like aka settlements, right? Businesses that are expanding into territory that they've basically just conquered and got, like, we will sanction you forever if you take this spot here. Because it wasn't yours before. I mean, you could say that about a lot of territory in Israel. But let's say for right now, right? You can sanction areas where these motherfuckers go. Like, if they spread into these areas after, they've killed entire families. Right? Oh, no, that was this person's house. So, no, you're not getting that. If you find their closest relative or whatever the fuck, you can pay them a shit ton of money to have that spot. If they want to do that. If not, if you just move in on your own and do that, we will sanction your business. Like, that'll be it. And obviously the arms, right? We don't have to give you fucking weapons. As far as things that are involving, like, food or water or aid or medical shit, like, I don't think you should sanction any shit like that from anyone. Right? I mean, once again, I'd have to see the exact logistics of it all for me to like say like my real opinion. I fucking hate economics personally. Whatever. But I think smart people can sit down and figure it out just by having enough information on hand. But I do agree with them. Like, yeah, I would be cautious about any type of complete sanctioning, right? Even though he's willing to do it for other countries, which is just hypocritical, right? Does it with Russia, right? Supports the Ukrainian war, essentially. Yeah, that makes it look sus, Bernie. But, people will settle for it. They'll call you good because of how bad Joe Biden is or how bad Donald Trump is. So you'll look like a good guy. But next to me, you look like a little bitch. All right, here we go.
Back calls for a cultural, sporting, and economic boycott of Israel.
I am nervous about economic boycotts of any country, to be honest with you. But right now, what people want to do, they can do what they want to do. But right now, again, my job as a United States Senator, and I'm kind of leading that effort in the Senate, is to tell Netanyahu that he is not going to get any more U.S. aid.
Did you feel?
Okay, you're leading a not good enough thing. Got it. Which is fine. Once again, I'm the enemy, so I'm nitpicking. He's leading the not good enough thing, as in you can really use your platform to explain to Americans how bad it really is. Now, to be fair, this is a year ago, but we just watched some clips of him presenting something yesterday, right? And they look like they're not good enough. Not good enough. Now, let's be real, it's going to be hidden on some random YouTube video or C-SPAN or something like that instead of really getting attention. If he went to crowds and told the real crimes of what the government of Israel is doing in Gaza and in the West Bank, let's be honest, all of it, in Syria, in Lebanon, he actually explained the real crimes of what's happening there. I think he'd pull his dick out on camera and just splooge into the camera. I truly believe it. Oh my God, Bernie's God. He's the universe's dad. He's number one. Kyle would have a political boner for he'll live off of it. Straight up. But, Bernie can't do that, apparently. I don't know why he can't do it, but he can't do it. Seemingly. Here we go.
In the Senate.
Once again, these are a year ago. Who knows how fair this is.
Did you feel nervous about the boycott movement against apartheid South Africa? Was that a concern you had at the time?
What I thought that as an apartheid state at that point, it was important to put pressure. But people can do as they
want. Evening, lads.
And that's all.
What's up, man?
Do you think that it's right that...
I just finished watching SmackDown.
You are watching SmackDown?
Yeah, so I watched the main event of SmackDown and the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. It's going to be the main event of WrestleMania.
Wait, what's the main event? Say that again.
The triple threat match between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. That's going to be the main event of WrestleMania.
Over Cena and fucking Cody Rhodes?
Yep.
Or is it one night there'll be main event and then the other night will be Rhodes and Cena?
I'm gonna guess for part one on Saturday. That's probably gonna be the main event, and then I think for part two, I think it's gonna be either Joseph versus Gunter or Cody Rhodes versus Cena. It's likely gonna be Joseph versus Gunter on part two.
Okay. Anyways, say hi to YouTube, kiddos. Say hi to YouTube.
Yeah. Well, hi to the YouTube chat.
We're not live, but this is recorded, and I'm leaving it in. I am not editing this out. I want everyone to know.
Oh, I got it.
They just in case they haven't seen SmackDown yet, they will now get spoiled in the middle of this video. They'd be like, okay, I'm gonna watch the Yellow Bro video. There's no way I'm gonna get spoiled about the wrestling match, and I can't wait to watch later. Oh fuck! What happened? Fuck! No! Gonna ruin their whole day. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm glad they can hear my hi.
Okay. Anyways, back to the video. Has Bernie called the Israel-Palestinian conflict apartheid? I don't know if has he ever said that before? I didn't look into that. I need to. There we go.
Point, it was important to put pressure, but people can do as they want, and that's all.
Do you think that it's right that British citizens and American citizens can go and fight in the IDF when, as you say, there are such profound humanitarian concerns in Gaza?
Well, I think if British and American people want to do that, I suppose they have the right to do it. It's not something that I've really thought a whole lot about.
Do you think they should have the right?
Look, I think what the Israeli government doing now is horrible, and I'm not quite sure why people would want to be, part of that effort.
I think you need like Bernie, if they're first of all, if you're afraid to say genocide, right, then there's no way you're gonna be like, well, you kids can't just serve in both militaries, go to fucking Israel, serve in the IDF, and be part of a genocide of a foreign country. It's like you can't just do that. The fuck? It's like, like she should have asked if would you be okay with someone leaving the country and serving a foreign military? Just say that in general. Granted, he'll know what you're talking about, but just say I don't know. All right, let's move on to the next one. It's once again, he's a limp dick, bro. I'm sorry, guys. I know Bernie looks brilliant compared to other people. I know, it's the best we can do. He's a little pivot. He's a pivot tool for us. We'll use him to make change towards our direction. I get that. But if you put a limp dick up there, bro, it's going to get ran over by guys who don't give a fuck, dude. And that's what's happened to Bernie so far, and seemingly in his entire political career. He's been just getting run over left and right. So, if he only has a fight for Republicans, and even that's a little tepid, I don't know what you want, man. I don't understand what, okay, I get it. I get it. Moving the dial a little bit. I get it. It's just, I personally can't go with that direction. So I'm going to be a little nitpick enemy on the outside. According to Kyle Kowinski. All right, here we go.
I mean, you've faced quite a lot of criticism recently.
I face criticism every day, no matter what you do, and that's my line of work, and I accept it.
Yeah, some barracking over this word, over the whole word about genocide.
People are talking about what constitutes genocide, all that stuff. Fine. Frankly, what we should be talking about is how we stop this damn war. Do you have an International Court of Justice which is defining what genocide means? What we can agree on, I certainly see, is a mass slaughter of women and children, which is unacceptable, which has got to end. And as a United States Senator, I am leading the effort in the Congress to make sure that Netanyahu doesn't get the money he needs to continue that effort. People think that's not good enough, or they want to argue about this word or that word. Fine, go do it. That's where the left is usually.
I mean, mass slaughter of people is a very strong way to express
well, that's what
it.
I think.
Absolutely. And yet.
Once again, he's saying it without saying. Maybe he can't say that word for a particular reason. Well, I think he's going to say something later in this clip that's, to me, a little damning again. Once again, a little damning, I think. But yeah, it might be to protect. Man, maybe my theory's wrong. That little conspiracy I had, he's doing it to protect Biden. Because if he calls it a genocide while Biden's in office and he's the fucking president and he's dishing him shit tons of money, so Joe Biden's supporting a genocide? You're like, oh no, Joe, don't hurt, don't whip me, Joe, don't do it, please, Joe, don't do it. But after we hear what I think is at the end of this video, we might have to, long. Was it the fucking never mind. We'll have to X that out, I guess. Here we go.
As you say, there is this argument about genocide. Is the difference between mass slaughter and genocide?
You tell me.
Numbers?
All right, talk about genocides. If I ask you historically about genocides, what would you say?
Well, I mean, Rwanda, Cambodia, the Holocaust, the Second World War.
Right.
So those are vastly bigger numbers.
That's right.
Than what we're talking about now.
Gaza's a smaller country. But why?
Bernie's quietly made a case that, like, oh no, it is a genocide. It's like, well, ratios of people that existed, and I mean, let's be real. If you have one bigger nation and then another nation where mostly civilians are dying, right? They're attacking them, and it's mainly civilians dying, and they're dying in all these different ways. I'm calling it a genocide. I'm being real with you. Whatever word means the worst shit ever, that's what's happening. Because there are people dying of starvation, of bullets, of bombs, of buildings falling on them, then they suffocate to death from lack of aid. They're blowing up hospitals. Hiding spaces are all getting blown up too. And then when they have to live in tents, those get blown up too. They're killing. There's a long list of ways they're just killing people. And as Bernie said, most of which are old people and kids. Most of it. It's like, that should be like, oh wow. Also, you want to throw in there, once again, I threw out Holocaust in there. You want to know why? Because these motherfuckers are wiping out like family lines. I mean, the whole the family's done. Like, oh, I was the only son dead. But then it gets crazier. Oh, you were the only 3 kids, all 3 dead. And the parents dead, and the grandparents dead. I mean, that's their line, their family line, gone. Like, that is actually happening. So it's like, damn, man, show some, put some fire in your fucking voice, Bernie. This is not something to sit back and relax with. This is happening while you are a part of a government that is a part of it. They are also genociding Gaza. They're also doing it, Bernie. Your government is doing that too, Bernie Sanders. This isn't like, oh no, they're doing it over there. I don't even know what they're doing. Like, no, they know. And they're still funding them, and they're still giving them weapons. Even when Biden's in office, at this time period, a year ago, Biden was still giving them weapons and funding them. For you to sit around shuffling papers, like, maybe this policy will get through one day, and my friend Joe will stop the genocide. Or stop supporting the country that's doing the genocide. Like, no, that's not going to happen, Bernie. Won't be enough time. And under this presidency, you know they're not going to listen to you. And they're going to clean this shit up in 4 years left. They made so much ground in eliminating Palestinians in the years that Joe Biden was there. That imagine with this guy who openly says, finish the job, and we'll give you all the bombs you want while you do it. The guy's openly saying he does that. Give him 4 years, it's just going to double and triple in mass. And we're already seeing that play out. It's already playing out. And it's the same thing. Like, they're probably in the thousands now as far as deaths after the ceasefire ended, which was like, a couple weeks ago? Once again, most of which are elderly and children, of course. And then when you run out of kids, it'll be easy to call them Hamas. Like, look at all these. If they show pictures of, men, right, grown men, there's gonna be less sympathy going around, right? They'll be like, oh, that's just Hamas. And that'll be easy, an easy sell. Just kill them. Holy fuck, bro. A little urgency, Bernie, just a little bit. I know this is from a year ago, but I'm not sure he learned his lesson, really. I think what he learned is that, well, Trump's in office, so now I can criticize us a little bit harder. There we go.
Vastly bigger numbers.
That's right.
Than
But,
what we're talking about now.
Gaza's a smaller country. But why are we... That's what I would think when you talk about genocide, right? So
you said you were uncomfortable with the word genocide.
Precisely because what I don't want to see is that word become something, 8 people like genocide. All right.
That is a horrible answer. Good God. Good God. That's a fucking disgusting answer, Bernie. Not disgusting in the sense of, like, I think he's some immoral guy. I just think if he had the chance, he'd change those words around. I don't want it to become something where, like, 8 people die, you just call it a genocide. Like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Like, have you looked into what's happening over there, dude? This is not an 8-person dying thing at all. It's nowhere near that, first of all. Second of all, 8 people dying should be as horrible to you as some sort of mass killing thing. They're equally bad, Bernie. And you have to try to judge it by context. Does the person that killed these people know them? What's their reasons and motives to fucking kill them? Like, is it strictly like, okay, I'm trying to eliminate all the fucking, Arabs in my neighborhood. I only got to 8 of them. Like, well, his thoughts were genocidal. He just didn't have the manpower to do it. Guess who does have the manpower? I get you're trying to stop it, but, like, the shit is already there. Biden didn't slow it down or stop it. And now Trump's he's saying all this stuff while Biden is president, and he could actually sign off on the stopping of that shit. Granted, Trump would have came in and kept it going. But you want to know something? If Kamala ran on that, of like, Joe Biden has stopped funding Israel because of their war crimes, and I'm going to follow Joe on this one. If she did that, I think you'd be surprised on how many voters you might actually pull over to your side. I think you'd be surprised. Because it wouldn't be a guessing game at that point, right? It'd be like, oh, Joe Biden stopped the money and the weapon sales. So then that means Kamala's probably going to do it too. But Trump is definitely giving them whatever they want. In fact, Trump would campaign. I'm like, they're not helping Israel out. They need more weapons over there. Look, I still see a baby smiling right there. How come we didn't kill him yet, huh? It's the far left Biden administration. Wow. That's just a terrible fucking answer, bro. That's a terrible answer. And in fact, wait, is this the right one? No, I got him out of order. This is the one I needed. Now, this clip is also a full screen of there. This is also a year old. Let's hear this.
I want to just clarify one thing, Senator, if I might. You support a humanitarian pause in Gaza. Some of your fellow progressives say that there should be a full-on ceasefire, which would require an agreement on both sides to halt the fighting. Do you support a ceasefire? And if not, why not?
Well, I don't know how you can have a ceasefire, permanent ceasefire, with an organization like Hamas.
Exactly. How are you going to do this when you have an organization like the Israeli government? Wait, what? You said Hamas? Wait, even my ass, who was not even paying attention to this shit, was hearing the news headlines about Hamas begging for ceasefires for like days after October 7th. Like, all right, chill out, ceasefire. So he says ceasefires will because of Hamas. That is legitimately batshit crazy. We were just in a ceasefire. Like, once again, we have contemporary, modern day, just happened so recently. They were in a ceasefire, right? Did Hamas break the ceasefire? That's question one. Question two, was Hamas even willing to step down? They didn't say that they were going to leave Palestine. They didn't say they were going to give up their weapons. But they said, we will step down as being the quote-unquote official military government, whatever the fuck, of Gaza. We will step down. We will disperse. Was that a part of the deal to give all the hostages back? I need answers to these questions because once again, this is from a year ago. Now, once again, I'm using something contemporary, like something that just happened kind of recently. But there are reports of Hamas willing to go through a ceasefire all up and down this conflict, or since October 7th. They've been willing to fucking ceasefire throughout all of it. So, as far as I understand, Hamas is not the reason for this, Bernie. Let's give this a look. This is from T-Lab, Last American Vagabond. Let's see. Now remember, this is under 2024. This is under Biden, so this is around the same time as where Bernie was doing that interview with sexy Dana Bash. Yes, she is sexy. All right, I like it. Anyways, here we go. No, was it fucking broken mouse?
The point of the ceasefire. This is important to understand. The United Nations shared this. The U.S. vetoed an Algerian-led draft that would have demanded an immediate humanitarian ceasefire that must be respected by all parties. Now, isn't that exactly what all the people screaming, saying that they actually, like all the people saying that Hamas keeps refusing an exchange? Well, then the one I just showed you, they're pointing at another tweet that said, well, like that they denied a ceasefire. They said, isn't that exactly what Israel keeps saying they want? Like there's this weird schism in this conversation where they're listening to what they say. This is what I keep showing you. And then they repeat that, even though the reality is provably the opposite.
Now, let me stop him there. Even with it seems pretty evident. Once again, hey, maybe I lean towards conspiracy. Maybe that's just my own intellectual fault or flaw or whatever the fuck. But something tells me that the Israeli government doesn't want a ceasefire. Isn't there generals that were like, we're leaving now? They left. They in a way in protest because there was a ceasefire. And then once the bombing started again, they came right back. Like, all right, let's get back to work, boys. Let's do it. Meaning these motherfuckers never wanted a ceasefire. I think once again, when genocide is an understatement of a word to use. It looks like at the very on the surface from the information I've seen, don't take my word for it. Go investigate yourself. Go look into shit yourself. On the surface, it looks like we want to wipe them off the planet, bro. Either through dead bodies or through pack your bags and leave and don't come back. That's what it absolutely looks like on the surface. That's where I'm at mentally. That's what I think is actually happening. So, sure, people like Kyle can say, I'm nitpicking. These are not nitpicks. These are you are destroying people. Once again, full family lines gone. Gone. They are no more. They are fucking... The only one left is Rey, bro, and she ain't a fucking Skywalker, bro. She adopted that name. The rest of them, though, gone. That's actually happening. So yeah, Bernie, you being tepid and saying these words, Hamas doesn't want to come to the table. It's hard to get a ceasefire because Hamas. I'm wondering, are you doing that because Biden's in office? Or do you actually believe that? Because everything I've seen speaks the opposite direction here. But I'll let T-Lab keep going.
There's this weird schism in this conversation where they're listening to what they say. This is what I keep showing you. And then they repeat that, even though the reality is provably the opposite. Israel has said, not publicly to people like that, but in Reuters and other ones, that they will not agree to anything that gives them a ceasefire, that gives them any kind of relief. So that ultimately means they will never do this because the only thing they call for is Hamas to unilaterally surrender and give up the hostage. That's it. Anything else that we're not going to agree to. And then they offer something that they will never agree to, and they go, see, they don't want it, even though.
And then to add to what happened most recently when the ceasefire broke, Hamas was following the ceasefire. They gave back a certain amount of hostages, and they're like, okay, let's do phase 2 where we give you the rest of the hostages. We back down. and then that's it. We move on to permanent ceasefire shit. We end the war, quote unquote war, and Israel just breaks it anyway. Like they were like, fuck it. You keep those hostages, and you know what? We'll go back to bombing. But before we do that, we're gonna cut off your food. We're gonna cut off your water. We're gonna cut off your electricity, and then we'll start bombing again. Because that same thing that Putin was paranoid about, that the U.S. and Ukraine were going to work against him, like, oh, you're going to call a ceasefire, you're going to rearm Ukraine, and they're going to come back fighting again. That allegedly, literally happened with the Gaza Israel ceasefire, where they go through a ceasefire. The U.S. once again, they went through a ceasefire like around the time Donald Trump got elected, right? And then weeks in, like, not too long into his administration, like officially after his inauguration, he starts dumping billions and billions and billions, like in months, bro, like billions of dollars, like over 20, maybe even over 30 billions of dollars, like, and weapons and bombs and 2,000-pound bombs and all this shit. Like, wait a minute, they're rearming. They were like, okay, let's stop here. Let's reserve what we have. We'll wait till Trump gets in office. He'll give us all the weapons and money we need, and then we'll go back to bombing restocked. That's what it fucking looks like. Unless someone has an argument that's different, like that can point me in a different direction than that, I'd love to see it. I will consider that. And I'm not some expert, once again, but that's what it fucking looks like. I'm sorry. So, but, alright. There's more tea left. So yeah, like that was basically to say like, oh, it's like a phony ceasefire. It's just they don't, like, in my opinion, once again, when you deal with creeps, like creepy motherfuckers and psychopathic motherfuckers, they don't actually care about people. You think Netanyahu cares about Jewish people? No, he fucking doesn't. He cares about him and his. He cares about himself and his assets, essentially. People around him. I'm sure he has love for his kids and his wife or whatever the fuck, right? I'm sure he has love for his family. I won't deny anyone that. Like, sure, that's possible. But I'm telling you, for the average citizen of some motherfucker he doesn't know, he will risk your lives for himself. Fuck. It's my neighbor. I don't know. But yeah. This guy will do that. Like, I think Trump's same thing. What, Trump? Hey, Trump, over here. I voted for you 3 times. Get that kid out of my face. You got the pistol? You shoot him. You touched me. Shoot him. He's not that extreme, but he's like, he doesn't care about you motherfuckers, bro. You're useful idiots for him. He's using you to do other shit. Netanyahu's the same way. So those hostages that are still under Hamas's control right now, I'm almost sure, I feel so sure that he is willing, if there's 2 Hamas guys, 20 civilian Palestinians, and 10 civilian Israelis that are hostages, this motherfucker will bomb the entire building and every block surrounding it. I don't think he gives a fuck about them. Like, I'll kill them. No problem. No problem. And it's like, that's what people need to understand, I think, is with these guys, with those those social archetypes, fucking disgusting. That, like, you could say, oh no, this is all for Israel. Like, I don't fucking know about that. I mean, Trump can talk about America all day and night. America first. I love America. America's the best. I'm doing this for us, for America. But in reality, it's like, are you? No, you're fucking not. You're not doing this for the average citizen, or what the country's supposed to represent. Like, at least on the surface, free speech and all that stuff. Like, you don't fucking represent that. You don't care about that shit. Look at the tenets of the Israeli government, and look at the words that are said out loud by governments, right? Like, oh, we stand for peace, freedom, honor, and These guys don't fucking stand for that shit, bro. If he uses his religion, guess what? The religion doesn't stand for that shit either. At least my interpretation of it. But these guys will use those things in order to fucking harm, like, to get their way. Like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I know 25, like something like 25% are children under 1 year old. But you could see it in their eyes. They were potential Hamas militants. This is what they do. They were going to raise them to be little Hamas, terrorists. Little baby terrorists, So you got to get rid of them. Got to kill them. Got to finish the job. They tried to get me the virus. Sorry. All right, here we go.
Ceasefire that gives them any kind of relief. So that ultimately means they will never do this because the only thing they call for is Hamas to unilaterally surrender and give up the hostage. That's it. Anything else?
Which apparently they were willing to do in this most recent ceasefire.
Never agreed to, and they go, see, they don't want it. Even though Hamas has repeatedly, since week one, according to all the corporate outlets I can show you, offered a full exchange with a ceasefire with humanitarian aid. My point would be simply that Israel knows as well as anybody that they could agree to all that, get all their hostage back, and then 2 days later, go right back to bombing God. They know that. So they don't want these people back. It's as simple as that. And the point is,
once again, he comes from a conspiracy mindset too, but you got to look at it. They had a ceasefire going. They got what they promised during phase one, a shit ton of hostages, right? And then Hamas got a bunch of hostages back too, right? Like, they were following it. But these guys preemptively broke the ceasefire because they don't care to have them back. In fact, they'd rather have them as hostages because it's their excuse to keep going, bro. To keep bombing. It is what it is. Here we go.
They don't want these people back. It's as simple as that. And the point is, the U.S. has been telling you, ceasefire. We want you. You need to pull back. They've been pushing Israel, and all of a sudden, they vote no. They veto the thing they just said they want to happen. What does that show you? That they don't really want the thing they called for. It's all a big lie.
It's to win more lefties for Kamala, but once again, their actions say that. Now, if they actually stop the funding, like, yo, follow the ceasefire, or we're done. No more weapons, no more money. If that was the case, then the quote-unquote lefties would have more of a, thing to campaign off to support Kamala over Trump. But they're not going to do that, bro. They're more afraid of whatever the fuck they're afraid of, and they are of the voters. Joe's like, I had my chance, and listen, don't embarrass me, Kamala. Don't embarrass me. That's all I ask you. Don't embarrass me. Can you imagine that? Just people being massacred around the planet, and this fool's worried about his image. Oh my dear Lord. Like, if that shit looked like charity too. When Biden won in 2020, it looked like fucking charity. It looked like a Make-A-Wish, bro. That's what it looked like. Like, everyone knows you shouldn't be president, but Joe, you've been licking boots so hard for your entire career that this is your retirement gift, man. You are now the president of the United States. That's what it fucking looked like. That shit didn't look anything about policy or legitimacy. Nothing. Looked nothing like that. Like, it was just clear. And Bernie should have been like, dude, there's no time for that. It's time to wreck your shit. There's no time for this. Get this jabroni out of here. He's terrible on every policy. He's not going to give you health care. He's going to destroy the world with bombs. Get this motherfucker out of here. That's what Bernie should have been doing. But he didn't. Guess what else? Someone who didn't even have a chance, which means she could just let bullets fly. And guess what? She joined the other party anyways, right? This Hawaiian yoga motherfucker, Hawaiian surfer, Tulsi Gabbard, right? She had no reason to hold back, but even she protected Joe Biden too. It's weird. It's fucking bizarre, right? Why'd she do that? She ended up joining the fucking Republican Party anyways. But she protected Joe Biden. She could have scorched him 10 million times. But she was just super nice to him. Maybe it was the CFR connection. Not even conspiracy, just like, oh, I know Joe from the CFR. So, you know, we could be sweethearts. He's a sweetheart old man. Man, just let him be president, man. Come on. Just give Joe just 4 years. Maybe it's because these fools don't actually suffer any of the consequences that we suffer. If these guys start World War, they don't go to war. We do. Or your kids. Or your siblings or whatever. Holy fuck, man. Terrorist attack happens, these guys don't get touched. They have armed security around them 24/7. It hits us. It hits us at our malls or wherever the fuck. Not trying to sell some sort of terrorism thing, but when there has been attacks, it hits regular civilians, not fuck. God. All right, here we go.
But they vetoed this. And I think the important part is against literally everybody else. So this is what shows you the illusion of what this UN dynamic is supposed to be. They can veto it, even though literally everybody else wants this to stop. Now, here is what, well, actually, first, let me show you this one, just since I think that's the flow of the conversation is better. Noura Irakat points out, and she's a human rights attorney, the U.S. just issued its third veto. It is the third time they've done this, while children are being murdered at an unprecedented rate. Third time. In 137 days of ongoing genocide, deemed such to have merit by the World Court, against the will of 153 states, which invoked uniting for peace twice, against the extraordinary invocation of Article 99 by the United States Security. It should be a C, right? Security Council, or is it General Assembly? In any case, the United Nations, against the International Criminal Court of Justice ruling finding plausible genocide and a duty to prevent it. I just realize how wild that really is.
It's batshit. It is batshit. And yet, all under Biden, right? It is all under Joe Biden. What does Bernie leave us with?
And let me be clear. We will have, in my view, a much better chance of changing U.S. policy with Kamala than with Trump, who is extremely close to Netanyahu and sees him as a like-minded, right-wing extremist ally.
Didn't look like it. See, he made this video. I am fucking wrecked, dude. What are we doing, Bernie? What is going on? Why are... Like, it's, once again, it's in your face, incorrect. In your face. And like, sure, like, all right, I'm not even going to say incorrect. On the surface, I can see why people would believe that. But what happens as a result is never that. It doesn't actually ever get better, dude. It's just weird. It's fucking bizarre. I'm sure there's Trump fans right now going like, why are we doing this with vaccines? Why are we bombing Yemen? Why are civil rights, free speech? What on college campuses? Like they're getting wrecked. They're getting their medicine right now. But Bernie was trying to give you that medicine right here, bro. Like, yo, vote for Kamala and shit will work out better. Like, define better. Like, define better for where am I at? The Kyle time? No. Where's Kyle? Kyle? Actually, you know what? I'll play this first. Because, like, this is, like, just a simple reaction that people had for, once again, year old, like, probably, like, around a year old, right? Year old. Around that time where Bernie, right? Bernie's refusing to say the word genocide, like, it became a thing because they like people are like, why don't you say this word? It's like, why don't you call it that? And it's like, maybe he does one day. Maybe he does. But, you know, maybe like, oh, that's reserved for things like where you round people up and you kill them in mass. Yeah, it's reserved for stuff like that. Someone tell Bernie that people are being rounded up and killed in mass as we speak. Like, I literally mean, like, okay, this is not proof of anything. There's this fucking thing. I didn't even plan to show this, but I'll show it now. Where is this shit? And once again, this is not proof of anything, but this is. I think it's worth considering. Right, Bernie? I think you should consider this one. It's kind of a flash at the beginning of the war. Okay, they got the sound of it. Alright, you don't need crazy sound effects. They're trying to... They're trying to amp it up. Not needed for me. I get the point. Territory that's taken, and then people being pushed it out more and more and more. And now they're really experiencing some beautiful beachfront property. What was the number? I think the number was something like 30,000 people per square kilometer. Packed in like sardines. So yeah, I don't know, Bernie. People being rounded up, killed en masse by all different methods, from starvation, lack of aid, lack of food, lack of water, lack of healthcare, to straight up bullets in the face, bullets in the chest, bombs, buildings falling on them, yada yada yada. You tell me what it is, Bernie. You fucking tell me. Oh, my bad. This is from a year ago, so it wasn't as bad back then, right? Totally wasn't. It didn't get bad till Trump took office, right? Before that, it wasn't so bad, but now it is. But all right, here's a video from a year ago. People screaming.
What's your definition of genocide?
Bernie, you have funded Zionism yourself. You have funded the Israeli settler state. Here you are, pretending you aren't. It is disgusting. Liar, liar, genocide denier. Liar, liar, genocide denier. It's disgusting. It is reprehensible. You are a child killer. You are a genocide denier. The United States military-industrial complex are the largest murderers in the world. It does not...
Now, is this guy, what was it, a nitpicker? Now, once again, I'm sorry to show up your favorite if you're a big fan of Bernie, I'm sorry to show him up and let you guys know that little old Jordan would be a better politician than Bernie would be. Sorry to tell you, sorry. In fact, I think half you motherfuckers would be better politicians than Bernie. I really do think so. I think the Little League dad down the street would be a better fucking politician than Bernie Sanders. Maybe not as learned, but if he showed him what's going on in the world, he might be better than Bernie Sanders. Let's be real. But anyways, sorry to one-up Bernie here, but like, I'd be like, yo, all right, come up here, man. You ain't got a weapon, right? You cool? All right, come on up here. Okay, get him a microphone. Thank you. Okay, I'll take it. Don't. Yeah, just turn it on from the bottom right there. Thank you. Oh, nice. Pause. By the way. All right, young man. What are your grievances? What are you talking about? But Bernie can't do that. See, like, in order, it's a weird kind of like, is it circular logic? Should I call it that? Where it's like, the only way to really let Bernie know that he's fucking up his narrative and perspective on the topic is, you can't really tweet him, right? He won't see it. And you don't have enough time to run around, the nation, like, I'll influence you guys to influence Bernie and move him to the left or whatever the fuck, right? So, like, this guy kind of has to go to a thing, like, and yell at him, like, yo, see those things where, like, Code Pink is chasing down Ben Shapiro? You're getting one of those moments right now, Bernie. And, that might be the only way, like, you have to yell it at him. And then maybe he starts considering it. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he started considering it, and he's thinking about it differently. But I'm thinking more, the president's changed over, so now he has a longer leash, and he's allowed to yell at when Trump does it, right? Well, also calling him anti-Semitic. Same time, it's just bizarre. Yeah. By the way, the Dak Rouleau guy. He asked this guy about Julian Assange. This dude. Oh, I'm aware of the issue. I just can't talk about it right now. And then it begs the question: did Bernie ever talk about it? This was back in 2020, 2019, whatever. He asked him. Bernie's aware of the issue. He asked him. And Bernie's answer, I'll talk about it later. Did Bernie ever talk about it later? Has he, to this day, from that moment, back in like, probably like 20, maybe even 2018, 19 or something? Did he, this is after Julian Assange got arrested, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure he got arrested already at this point. Has Bernie brought it up since? Something, I've been out of politics for a while. Something tells me doubtful. So it's like, what are we doing then? What are we doing? All right, here we go.
Child killer, you are a genocide denier. The United States military-industrial complex are the largest murderers in the world. It does not matter if it is a Democrat or a Republican. You have murdered people around the world. The Native Americans are still being genocided. I have never heard you once speak about genocide.
He's saying not once has this fool said a fucking word about it. But I did hear him say, I mean, I don't know why, like, I don't know. He's like, it doesn't matter, like, you heard what I said, it doesn't matter what word I use? Like, it seems like it does matter to you. Because if I'm talking to someone and I'm like, oh yeah, like they rounded people up, they started killing them, it's like horrible fucking incident. No, it's a genocide. Oh, is that what you call it? You call it a okay. It's like a genocide, man. It's pretty simple for me. Just like, okay, just so we can communicate together. You get where I'm going. I'm saying, like, whatever it means, like, really bad to you, that's what this is. But Bernie was, like, he's the one who kind of made it a big deal to not say the word, it seemed like. But, alright, like I said, long video. Let's keep going. Let's bring Kyle in. Because even Kyle had to criticize this fool. From that interview we saw earlier, even Kyle had to get him. Pause. Here we go.
So, look, he said a lot of things there that were good, saying it's horrible, it's terrible, we got to cut off the money, etc. But he refuses to call it a genocide. Now, does that matter? Yes, it matters, because functionally, when you get down to the specifics of the genocide case at the ICJ, if you're not answering in the affirmative that you think it's genocide based on the evidence, well, then you're on the side of Israel's leaders getting away with it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And they might even make a case that you're trying to kill the Jewish people. That you're trying to kill the Jewish people. Like, because, let's be real, they do this the whole Israeli propaganda. They make distinction. They go back and forth between Israeli and Jewish. They mix them together so that everyone's confused when you start talking about it. But they will use that talking point of like, you're trying to, eliminate the Jewish people, eliminate the Jewish state by by calling it a genocide or by going out like, no. If you don't call it a crime, if you don't state the facts about it being a genocide, like legally, and then you pull funding from them, they might be like, oh, it's because you're anti-Semitic, and even though Bernie's Jewish, they'd be like, oh, he's a self-hating Jew, and that's why he's doing it. Like, I'm telling you, they will use whatever it takes, apparently, to conquer more land. Just like the U.S., like, it's the same thing. Whatever it takes to conquer more shit. Like, in the future, like in 27, 28, when maybe some other Democratic person rises to the call to fucking go against, whatever Republican candidate is. I mean, it might not be about Israel Palestine anymore. Like I said, Trump is moving fast. Netanyahu's moving fast. These guys are killing people at crazy numbers daily. They're still bombing. Like they're still bombing all over. They're bombing Somalia. They're bombing Syria. They're bombing fucking Lebanon. It's bombings happening everywhere. But the whole Gaza issue might be done with already because the people are done with. In which case, we're just arguing about, do we let Israel expand further into Syria or further into Lebanon, or do we just like cut off the territory and give it to them? Because look, Jolani's running Syria, and he's a bad guy. So maybe it's better that Israel controls Syria. And then it's like, wait a minute. This whole thing that was a big argument for years and years of Israel-Gaza, or Israel-Palestine, is now like, we're not even arguing about Palestine anymore. Because they've been wiped out. And now it's just Israel expanding into other countries. More and more fucking territory. And it just changes the scope of the argument. And we lose sight of... Like, that's why you have to fight for it now. I think that's why... Like, Kyle's correct here. Jesus Christ. Kyle is correct here. You have to, once again, I think that's why Biden didn't fucking do it. Or why Bernie didn't do it under Biden. I think that's why, like, he didn't use that word genocide, because guess what? Biden's president, and there may be legal ramifications if one of the biggest, most popular politicians in America calls it a crime. Straight up. I guess he's kind of calling it a crime now, but he still doesn't use the word genocide, which is just weird. But here we go.
You're not answering in the affirmative that you think it's genocide based on the evidence.
Christ.
Well, then you're on the side of Israel's leaders getting away with it. Look, here's the definition. The deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. I honestly don't know how any honest person could look at what's happening on the ground now and disagree that it's a genocide. I don't understand that. Yeah. I don't get it. And like,
if you're protecting your like, listen, Bernie, step into my office. Yeah, it's your good pal Joe. Step into the office. Yeah, listen. If you call it genocide and it's happening under my watch, that's gonna hurt Kamala when she starts running for president. It's gonna hurt her. Or I'm sure she was already running at this point, or announced that she's running, maybe. Yeah, like, listen, Bernie, if you call it genocide, you're gonna make us look bad, and if we look bad, Kamala looks bad. Or it could be something way more petty, like that shit I heard about Biden telling Kamala, like, "Yo, when you're campaigning, don't make me look bad, okay? Protect my legacy." So if it's that petty, and Bernie's just like, I don't want to hurt Joe's feelings. He's a good friend of mine. Listen, Joe's a big friend of mine. I don't want to hurt his feelings, okay? Can you imagine? Yeah, Kyle's perplexed, and he should be perplexed. And he's like, in fact, Kyle, this whole thing you said in this recent video about like, yo, leave, like, if you nitpick at Bernie, you're the enemy. You're not on our team. You're the enemy. I accept that. But don't you think it's a little more clever to actually ask him about that? Like, shouldn't that be something worth questioning Bernie Sanders about? Because that's you just called it a big deal. Now, he wasn't at this time campaigning around the country, getting crowds and crowds of people, right? But still, it's a smudge on the right. Like, that's worth questioning him about, because you don't know what he's like. Let's say he did run again, and like, you don't know what he's going to do in office exactly. You won't really know, Kyle. There's a reason to question everything around you. If something looks off, you should be able to ask questions about it. Hopefully Kyle's not going to, like, hopefully Kyle would allow it, like, not, become a human shield for Bernie. Like, ask me instead, leave Bernie alone. Bernie's got to run, he's got to run for office. We need him. But it is what it is. There we go.
what you're seeing here from Bernie is the limits of institutional progressive thought in DC. The limits of institutional progressive thought. As I just described for you, Navalny was just killed by Russia, and the same day or a day after, we're going to do a whole new sanctions package. But Israel has killed 14,000 children, 33,000 civilians in a short time frame. They've bombed hospitals.
I think he's undercutting the numbers again. But once again, that'd be counting indirect deaths, which is like the same thing, right? Oh, Hitler didn't gas these guys. These guys died of typhus. They died of starvation or typhus or whatever from like lice and shit like that. The disease. Like, come on, bro. Would they have gotten typhus if they weren't rounded up? Like, come on. So, yeah, I think the number's a lot larger than Kyle's even said. But once again, these politics motherfuckers, bro. But all right, here we go.
And schools and mosques and churches and marketplaces and UN buildings and Doctors Without Borders, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And the best we get from the best senator is we got to cut off the money to try to force them to change their mind about the genocide that they're doing. Do you think that?
He's fucking... Kyle's full-blown wreck. He is perplexed. He's like, what? Like, call it what it is. This is what I yelled about Ilhan Omar like years ago, where I'm like, yo, fucking use your platform and show the fucking pictures, Ilhan. Like, yo, like if her thing, like of the squad, it's like her and Rashida Tlaib, they're more of the foreign policy types, right? And AOC is supposed to be like, oh, the domestic economic and that shit or whatever, right? I'm like, yo, Ilhan, go find the fucking get some pictures, blow them up on poster size, and show everyone. If they turn their head, like, oh, fuck you, far left. Oh, fuck, that's a baby with its head blown off. Oh, fuck. That should stop them in their tracks. If it doesn't, you're not looking for those motherfuckers anyways. Like, all right, go enjoy your day, dude. I'll wait till you find a conscience. Well, we had nothing to do with that. Well, actually, maybe not you personally. I'm never going to blame some individual for this, but here's where your tax dollars go. And they show the operations, how unjustified these once again, innocent civilians are killed. That's the crazy part about the fucking the Signalgate fucking story, where it's like these fools are talking about like blowing a building up because a motherfucker went in once to visit his girlfriend. Oh, we got him. He went into the building to visit his girlfriend. All right, what do we do? We blow the building up. Like, what? What? You're not going to follow him like after he leaves and be like, okay, you know, now he's isolated or something. Even like, once again, I don't like that either. I really don't like that either. But at the very least, pretend you are what you say you are. But they can't do that, bro. That's why I call a lot of these guys devil worshippers. Like, it is what it is. But, yeah, show these motherfuckers. Show it to their faces what's happening. Bernie, you have a giant platform. AOC, you have a giant platform. Ilhan Omar, you can call AOC up. You can call Bernie up and use their fucking platform and get this shit out there. No, like, I don't think regular Americans, the average voting American, knows exactly how bad it is. I don't think they really know how bad it is. But, alright, there we go. Yes, Kyle, you should be fed up about that. But, Grant, not only is this a year ago for Bernie, it's a year ago for Kyle. Kyle might be like, oh, forget about that. Like, look at the crowd Bernie and AOC drew. Now we need to shut the fuck up and get out of their way. I don't know if that's his perspective now. But if someone brought this up from my opinion at least, if someone brought this up if that Australian guy was at a Bernie rally and ran on stage, Bernie, you support genocide, you don't call it out, yada yada yada. He says this whole fucking thing. Sorry, it's worthy. It isn't, hey man, you're the enemy, get out of our way. Like, that's definitely not the case. Not saying Kyle's saying that, but if he is, Kyle needs to shut the fuck up at that point. Because there's too many people dying. Sorry. Bernie will not be worth that. Sorry. Here we go.
Mind about the genocide that they're doing. Do you think that's enough? You think that's strong enough?
Nope.
Isn't the obvious answer? And try to imagine if one of our official state enemies was doing what Israel's doing right now. Isn't the much more obviously correct answer, like I already laid out? You cut off the money, you cut off the weapons, you sanction them, you bring them up on war crimes charges, and you try to actually get them arrested. Aren't those things necessary? And honestly, if it was any other country, I don't agree with this, by the way. This shouldn't be the case. But if this was an official enemy state to the U.S., we would be talking about doing regime change. We would be talking about sending SEAL Team 6 in there and putting a bullet between Netanyahu's eyes.
This is also true. And I also disagree with that. But once again, I mean, as far as the logic of what they've done so far, foreign policy-wise, yes, Kyle's correct. But let's be real. The only reason I see this country doing regime change is to replace them with someone worse. So they'd have to be a more frothing at the mouth genocider. Like, they'd have to replace Netanyahu with someone worse. Because that's what they do when they replace people. Like, oh, you were democratically elected. The people like you. And, oh, wait a minute. Is he giving his country's resources to his own citizens? Why isn't he giving the U.S. a piece of the pie? Someone needs some regime change over there. And then let's make it worse. Like, that's what happens, bro. It ain't some like good guy in there that they that they put in place. They fucking put someone who will bend the knee to America. So Netanyahu's already there in regards to that. You're gonna find someone worse than Netanyahu. Like, good luck. Like, just saying. Let's find a less warmongering Netanyahu. Like, where? Or more warmongering Netanyahu. I was like, good luck finding that. That's like, seems like he's like at the top of the fucking chart there. But all right, here we go.
That's how far we would go if it was an official enemy country. Now, again, I don't agree with that. I don't believe in that. I think regime change is bad and wrong. But certainly when it comes to somebody like Netanyahu, sorry, the dog's kicking the camera again. Certainly when it comes to somebody like Netanyahu, certainly when it comes to this current Israeli government, you have to do way more than just cut off the money and the weapons. You have to sanction them. You have to bring them up on war crimes charges. The idea of economically fighting back, BDS, that is like the only possible and correct way to do this, where you still maintain the moral high ground and your own morality and your own ethics, and you get it to stop and you bring about justice.
Damn, he sounds way different. Maybe he didn't get nipple rings at this point. Maybe Kyle's nipple ringless right now. Sounds a lot more on my team. Sounds like he's on my team. You know what I'm saying? But I would also, once again, I actually agree with Bernie's take on the sanctioning idea, where it's like you have to actually go over things, because I wouldn't want to cut off water or food or like healthcare supplies or anything like I don't know exactly like word for word what we give Israel. I'd have to like look through that and be like, okay, oh, this is food? Yeah, cool. We'll do that. Water? Cool. Awesome. Healthcare supply? Awesome. Granted, imagine like Hamas had Israel's propaganda powers in the U.S. You'd be like, look at them, they're giving tubes over there so that Israel could build weapons. What did Trump say? He's like, Hamas, they're getting... Doge did the investigation. Hamas is getting 130,000 condoms so they can make little bombs out of them, little condom bombs. You ever heard of that, condom bombs? They're all over the place. They're everywhere. Hamas is using them to make weapons. Jesus Christ. That was, side note thing. Anyways, here we go.
Way to do this where you still maintain the moral
beautiful
high ground and your
condoms,
own
look at 'em
morality
fly.
and your own ethics, and you get it to stop, and you bring about justice. And he's very skittish on the idea of economic boycotts. He's clearly against something like sanctions. The furthest he'll go is cut off the money and cut off the weapons.
I should have added this caveat. I'm not going to say I agree with Bernie about the sanctions things because he could be 100% hypocritical and whatever, because he could be supporting it in other countries, but because it's Israel, he'll dampen his idea of sanctions. The way I say it is meant to be universal, as in, like, I don't care what country you are, I would help you with food, water. Bill Hicks, where it's like, instead of firing these missiles, can we just fly over and drop like food? It's like, can we do that instead? Like, fuck yeah. They're firing bananas out of missiles or out of like cannons and shit. Right into people's mouths, bro. Pause. What's Kyle know about Bill Hicks, huh? Anyways, here we go.
Against something like sanctions, the furthest he'll go is cut off the money and cut off the weapons. Again, I don't want to be too harsh because that's better than 98% of the other people in DC, but it goes to show you the limits of progressive thought when you're talking about these giant American institutions. Like, it's just, that's the most you're going to get when it comes to one of our allies. No matter how egregious, no matter how over the top, no matter how extreme, doesn't matter how many literal Nazi-like comments are made from top Israeli government officials, doesn't matter how many times they're saying, we're doing the Gaza Nakba. There are no innocent civilians.
Kyle, that is officially anti-Semitic rhetoric. You can't compare Israelis to Nazis. You can't do that. That's anti-Semitic. I remember a video I did with Ben Shapiro where he read the rules off that he's fully in belief of, like he's with those rules. And I think they might have started around the Donald Trump administration. So all the people that were surprised by what he's doing now, like, oh my God, I didn't vote for this. Like, I don't think you know what you voted for because you didn't pay attention to his first fucking administration, you dumb fucks. Ben knew. Ben Shapiro knows what's going on. Steven Crowder knows what's going on. They know what's going on because they were always that type of Republican. But the Johnny-come-latelys that thought, like, oh my God, anti-war, like, who tricked you? Anyways, here we go.
I'm going to destroy this Palestine.
And anyone can say words out loud. As far as showcasing that they stand by those words, that's a little bit more difficult. But let's be real. No one holds anyone to those things. Even Kyle, as he's putting pressure on Bernie right here in this video, is already now recently telling us to shut up about him. Don't nitpick. Like, you want more nitpicking. Get more purity. You're supposed to get something like, yo, get louder. Pretty simple, Kyle. Whatever. I'm not a strategist. I aim for like trying to do the right thing. So don't trust me on strategy. But let's be real. No one's done that idea of like, let's be thorough, straight up. Let's be the real deal, through and through. Or accept the candidate that's thorough, through and through. Let's get that motherfucker in there. No one that has not been attempted, I don't think. All I see is a bunch of settlers, bro. A bunch of Plymouth Rock motherfuckers. But all right, here we go.
Palestinian civilian store. I'm going to kill some children and take a happy picture on their bicycles. I'm going to kill some disabled Palestinians and take a picture holding their canes. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the most you get is, I don't really know if it's a genocide, and the best I'll do is, let's try to change their mind by cutting off the money, but that's it.
And it might even be, let's stop, like, let's not add to what we're already giving them. It could even be something like that for all I know. Like, oh, we're giving them $30 billion a year? Okay, let's stop it there at $30 billion. Guess what, Netanyahu? It's not going to $50 billion this time. Like, well, is that really some sort of punishment thing going on? But I think he actually means like, okay, cut off weapon sales. But then again, they're not. It's not hand. It's not like hand to bomb shit, like hand to mouth, pause, like food. It isn't like you give them the bomb, they use it immediately. Like they stockpile. They stockpile them. When the ceasefire happened, and that conspiracy theory that they were actually just trying to rearm, it wasn't because they completely ran out of bombs. It's because they want to make sure that at a certain threshold, and like, okay, we need more savings here before we start spending bombs again. Metaphorically speaking. But all right, here we go.
It's just pathetic, man. It's
It
just
is
pathetic.
Very pathetic.
Because again, I'll ask you guys this question: if he can't call it a genocide now, well, then what would Israel have to do for him to call it a genocide? Would they have to literally nuke Gaza?
There's got to be no more left. He's got to finish the job. As soon as he finishes the job, then it's a genocide. But before that, it's just a war in Gaza. That's what it sounds like. Even Trump might call it a genocide after it's over because it's already won. The deal is done. That's it. New real estate. Already pre-demolished real estate.
To call it a genocide? Would they have to literally nuke Gaza? Is that what would actually have to happen? And in that scenario,
Do they have nukes, Kyle? How do you know they have nukes? Does Bernie know they have nukes? They on paper officially don't have nukes, Kyle. Why are you saying nukes for, bro? Huh? What's up with that? What do you know something you're not telling us, Kyle?
would they have to literally nuke Gaza? Is that what would actually have to happen?
What would Bernie say? Would Bernie be like, yeah, they have
would
nukes?
He still hesitate to call it a genocide? Like, I'm
thinking Bernie will say, no, they don't.
What would have to be done for him to call it a genocide? And more importantly, the logical consequence of him not saying it's a genocide is what? He's effectively siding with Israel in the ICJ case. If he doesn't believe it's a genocide, he's saying no. They should be found not guilty. And I'm sure he would say, I disagree with them. What they're doing is bad. It's horrific. It's brutal, etc. But clearly he views it as more of like we need to change their mind. Like it's a choice. Same thing with this was the limits of progressive thought during the Iraq War too. It was always like the people who were more correct were always like, this is a strategic blunder. It's like,
yep.
A blunder is when you trip and fall on your ass and everybody laughs at you. This is a war crime.
Damn, Kyle's like agreeing with me, but like if I say that now, he would disagree with me maybe. Because, like, if I could ask Kyle a question, like, okay, is this make or break for you? Like, if you talk to Bernie right now and he had the similar answers of not being able to say genocide because of, let's be real, legal reasons, right? If he was like that, would you be like, damn, I can't support you? I can't support you. Because, I mean, no, I don't think, I think it'd still be like, this is the lesser of two evils or something, or, well, it's better than what blah, blah, blah would do. And it's like, but if you, I don't know, man. Once again, that's why I just say I go by my morals, man. I can't predict the future. But if I can maintain my morals in real time, wherever I walk, wherever I go, wherever I think, more importantly, in my imagination and in my own thoughts, if I can maintain my principles even in that space, where there's like millions of thoughts going through everyone's minds all the time, right? If you can maintain it there, even in your imagination, I think you're good. But, I'm not trying to fully throw away the political strategist. It's just something I will never be doing. Straight up. So I named myself an enemy of Kyle's already. Like, yeah, I'm your enemy, bro. If Bernie gets up there and you give me a chance to talk to him, I'm going to be asking some very harsh questions, and he might end up looking bad. in front of, like, no, you're going to hurt Bernie's chances of winning. Yeah, but, I mean, I would preface and be like, how come I can't ask any of the other guys questions? Why is it only Bernie? Are you trying to use me as like some sort of tool to wreck Bernie so that you guys look better? You know what? Maybe I'll do a whole dissertation about how these other guys suck. Like, they suck too. Now that everyone can hear the differences and maybe someone maybe not saying the truth. I can't say I'm an expert to say, like, this is the truth, but it's definitely honest. I think people would walk away by, okay, well, he had less bad things to say about Bernie than someone else. Maybe. These are just on the surface stated things we've seen already from headlines and journalists and all that shit. But it's just like, man, where do you draw the line at? Because if he bows down and starts dishing cash out to fucking Israel, and they continue, let's say, I think the conflict would, let's be real, it's looking like they're gonna be wiped out before next general election. But if they weren't and he ran, I'm sorry, man. I have a line, and even for me, even just being in mystery of what you would do, like feeling like there's a mystery there, intuitively, like, Dan, I don't know what this motherfucker's gonna do. Like, really, I really don't know. It's not worth the risk, man. It really is, like, because I don't care if it's 200,000 or just 2 innocent people being killed over there. Not especially children. Anyone innocent. It's not. Sorry, I can't do that. I can't accept it. I can't roll with it, and I never will. Never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever will I do that. But sometimes, but you got to support the far left, and like, I'm not the far left. I'm not the right. I'm not the left. I'm not a centrist. I'm not any of these political affiliations. It's about morals for me. My morals. That's how I operate. Now, you material guys should be okay with that because I'm just one person, right? I'm just one person. Now, if you're upset I influence people, no, you're getting in the way. You're getting in the way of their choice. Then I'll start wrecking your shit. You can't do that. You can't agree with him. Like, of course they can. And they can also disagree. Nothing wrong with either. But, all right, here we go.
This is illegal, unconstitutional, a war of aggression based on lies.
It's wrong.
Torture. It's something that should land your ass in The Hague. And nobody would say that. The best you'd get is, this is a mistake. And his commentary here reminds me of that. It's always the kid gloves for the U.S. and our allies. They always get the like, well, we need to change course and try to make them change course. But don't say it's a genocide. Don't try to bring them up on war crimes charges. Don't try to have actual accountability for 33,000 dead Palestinians and counting. And they're starving them as we speak, by the way. So,
well, all right. There you go. Kyle sees it as a full-blown genocide, war crime, all of it. In fact, Kyle, you should probably be saying, like, well, whoever is funding this guy, knowing that is happening, you're there too. To be real, like, oh, you're on that criminal side as well. Granted, I wouldn't be doing. My prosecutions would be more about the truth coming out, not so much about I need you in jail. It's like once the truth comes out, no one's gonna elect you to anything anymore, bro. I don't think regular people fuck with, blowing up children for shits and giggles or for world domination or whatever the fuck people are doing it for. But yeah, let's hope Kyle stays consistent. How about that? Hopefully, see this right here? Hopefully Kyle doesn't turn his brain off and forget that he had this reaction to that topic and the way Bernie dealt with it. Hopefully he doesn't turn that off because Bernie's getting crowds now. That's what I would say. Is there another video I got here? I don't know, I played I played this, I think. Yeah, I did. Right? Yeah. I have two of them there. Whatever. Fair enough. Oh dear. Thumbnail? Do I do a thumbnail? Be this one, right? Just full screen it. There we go. Boom. Perfect thumbnail. It's Bernie in contemplation. It's Contemplation Bernie. 1999 at Toys R Us. All right. There's a video. That's a 2.5 hour video. Where it's just me just ranting, reviewing, reacting, and talking shit, you know? Oh wait, Marco Rubio's a little bit. Whoever thumbs me down for that video, go fuck yourselves. Marco Rubio's a little bitch, bro. He's a little pussy. Everyone knows it too. Everyone knows it. His secretaries and shit, they be making fun of him behind his back and shit. He's a little bitch. Everyone knows it. So stop it. All right, there's your video. Please subscribe if you feel like, comment, agree, disagree, tell me what you think. I think this is a worthy rabbit hole. And guess what? This is not the only topic to rabbit hole with Bernie Sanders and his policies, whether for the good or for the bad. And there's things that could be good. Like if you go through, I did this when he was running in 2020 or 2019, 2020, around there, where you actually go to his website and you can read because he kept getting asked, like, well, Bernie, how are you gonna pay for that? Like, well, he has an entire website of policies, and he's explaining how he's paying for things. Like, oh, I could pay, student debt with, by taxing penny stocks or whatever the fuck he said, or taking 1 penny out of what was it? 1 penny per dollar of speculative dollar. I can't say that word. Speculation dollars or whatever. Taking one penny on the dollar from there, like taxing it 1 penny on the dollar. And boom, student debt done with, and we can pay for other shit too. And obviously the tax brackets would change a bit. It's like he explained everything. So there's places of positivity to go with Bernie. Not saying I think that's the way to go. Honestly, efficiency wise, I don't know. Because guess what? We never get honest answers. We never get a real debate between, let's say, Bernie's ideas and someone else's ideas, so we have to do it ourselves. And I'm no economic expert. But what I believe as far as Bernie's end goal is, make sure everyone has fucking healthcare and they don't fucking go broke if they get sick or hurt or something. I'm like, that makes sense. I'm with that. Now, how we get there, I don't fucking know how to do it. I personally don't know how to do it. But as long as we get corruption out of the way, guess what? It becomes an efficiency argument, and we could just sit down and okay, what's the best possible thing we could do here? But for some reason, people like fighting instead of actually trying to accomplish that. It's very bizarre. They'd rather fight than actually attempt to accomplish. Some people are so stuck in their fucking ways, where even their ask them simple do some Socratic questioning, right? Question their logic a bit. Do some epistemology, right? And these fools don't even know why they're they don't know why they're believing in what they're believing. They just have to believe in it. Oh no, that's socialism. Can't do that. If you try to ask questions about it, they get they don't have any real answers that I've heard so far. It sounds like it's just team playing for the sake of team playing, which to me is just ratty. But all right, whatever. So yeah, comment. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, donate. Hopefully people watch this video, by the way. I know it's a long video, but I hope people hear me out and also hear all this different content of Bernie Sanders on the topic of just on the topic of Israel, Palestine, and a little bit of foreign policy in there, and a little bit more expanded beyond that for the sake of foreign policy. And all within the last year, right? I think it's an interesting look. And something worth talking about and worth critiquing. Yeah. All right, there it is. Don't forget to donate. Do it. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.